Welcome back everybody, I hope you're having a beautiful day today and I hope you're ready for what we're going to read today. In today's episode we're going to have a short episode at the beginning and then a compilation after. Going to be a lot of terrifying Reddit stories today and I hope you're excited. Good luck with this one guys and I hope you have a wonderful time. Am I the a-hole for not naming my children after my in-laws? No, definitely not. Moving on. No, I'm joking, I will read it, but I'm pretty sure you're already not the a-hole. My husband and I, 33 male and 31 female respectively, have a 3-year-old son and are trying for a second child soon. My father passed away the day that I found out I was pregnant with my son, so my husband and I agreed to give my dad's middle name Hayden to our son. This caused a bit of a fuss with my father-in-law who said that he was hoping that I'd honour him in naming our child, but I repeatedly told him the names that my husband and I picked for our children would not mesh well with any of his names. I didn't mention that we didn't want to carry the James name tradition on anymore, nor did I like the name Martin. Now that my husband and I are trying for a second child, the arguments come up again about bestowing a family name to honour my father-in-law upon our second child, should it be another boy. We already have another name set picked out for another boy, and this one honours my grandfather who passed before I was born. The name that we've chosen flows super well with my grandfather's name, and my husband agrees that it'd be a great choice. My father-in-law made a comment to me about having to die before he'd get a child named after him, to which I made it abundantly clear that neither I, my husband, nor his other son and his partner have any obligation to name any of our children after him. This has caused a huge rift in the family, and my mother-in-law has pleaded with me to reconsider and allow father-in-law the pride of having a child named after him. I'm standing my ground and I'm keeping all the names that we've picked as they are. Am I the a-hole? No, I don't feel like it, OP. You can't force stuff like this, and you're not obligated to do anything. OP said, I did take my husband's surname. My son was born before we were married, so I could have technically given him my maiden name, but I knew how important connection to his father's family was. So is it all because you gave your son your dad's middle name? And the father-in-law is like, well, come on, why aren't you honouring me? Yeah, that still doesn't make you the a-hole, OP. This comment says, not the a-hole. Naming a child is the parents' and only the parents' prerogative. Who wants to name a child after a whiner anyway? And OP said, that's exactly how I see it. One of the reasons my husband and I decided to name our son after my father was because I found out about the pregnancy the day my father passed away, and it was my husband's idea. Father-in-law believed that since we'd chosen to give our children 2 middle names like me, I'd be gracious enough to include his name too. Yeah, but you're still not obligated to, OP. No, I don't feel like you're the a-hole, OP. And don't all the kids have the same last name as the father-in-law? The top comment says, not the a-hole. Why does he assume that he'd be honoured over your family? How presumptuous of him. They named their own kids. They don't get to name yours. Stand your ground. And OP said, at the time my husband and I fell pregnant, my brother-in-law wasn't even sure if he even wanted kids. Father-in-law took it as his only chance to have his name go on. I made a comment that my children would carry his last name, but that seemed to make him even madder. Now that his other son is thinking of having children with his new partner, the argument has come back up, and since I'm trying to conceive again, he thinks it'd be a good time to have one of us do him the honour of naming a child after him. Nah, he has no right to be demanding that, OP. The next one that we're going to read is on the Entitled People subreddit. Our neighbours have been having pool parties at our pool when we weren't home for years. Oh my god. A few years ago, my husband and I purchased a house with a pool. Now, we are acquainted with most of our neighbours, but we're definitely not close friends with any of them. They all seem nice, but we don't have much in common besides where we live. Next door to the right is a family of 6, twin daughters attending the local university, high school age son and a young elementary school age daughter, maybe 1st or 2nd grade, and the parents. Now normally we open the pool in early May and we keep it open until the end of October, but this year our weather was off and we had a very cool and very wet month of May, and then June went straight to 100 plus temperatures. I'm currently on a medication that makes it difficult for me to tolerate being in the sun and the heat for an extended time, plus we've been helping 2 extended family members who've been having health issues, so because of this we haven't had our pool open this year. Normally we go to the family lake house for a week during each of the 3 major holidays, but we didn't go for Memorial Day because there was flooding around the lake this year, and because a family member just got out of the hospital yesterday, and the 4th of July being a Tuesday this year, we decided to stay home this week so we can be available to help this family member. Now several times in June the little girl next door has either seen my husband or myself outside, and she's asked me when we're going to open the pool. We first told her maybe later, but the last time she asked, yesterday, I said that we're probably just not going to open it this year, and she started crying. Now we've never had any of the neighbours over to use our pool, so I didn't understand why she was crying over us not opening our pool. Well, I spoke with the neighbour on the left later, and apparently our neighbours on the right have been having a small family party at our pool every 4th of July when we're gone. What? They've always cleaned up really well after, and because we have scheduled pool maintenance and weekly yard service, occasionally things are moved around in our yard, and we never thought much about it. The neighbour on the left thought that we we'd given the other neighbors permission to use our pool. We did give them permission to retrieve any balls or toys that ended up in our yard, but never permission to use our pool, especially when we're not home. We have a special latch on the gate, and my husband did show the neighbor how to open the gate to retrieve his kids' toys. So now my husband, who loves gadgets, is going to have several more cameras installed around the exterior of the house, covering the gate and the pool, and have the gate latch made where we can grant remote access for the pool service and the yard man. Luckily, we have a friend who does cameras and home automation systems. I'm annoyed that our neighbors have been using our pool without permission, but my husband's happy that I'm letting him get more gadgets around the house. Now, do we confront the neighbors and let them know that we know they've been using our pool, or just wait and see if they say anything about our new security cameras? They're having bloody pool parties when you're not home. That's so wild. Yeah, this comment, I don't know what would be more fun, to tell them up front to not use the pool, or to not say anything, and next time you find them on camera using your pool, calling the police for trespassers on your property to surprise them. The top comment says lawyer here, though not yours. You need to put up no trespassing signs, tell your neighbors they're not allowed on your property without explicit permission, and change the lock on the gate. Now that you know, you're on notice and you could be held liable if they're injured visiting your pool. It does suck, but it'll be less trouble than a lawsuit. Yeah, I can't believe that. The absolute audacity. And on that note, that's all the time I've got for today. Enjoy the compilation, everybody, and I'll see you in the next episode. Wow, okay, the first one that we're going to read today. Am I wrong for telling my husband that he's an embarrassment? Hi everybody, this is my first time using Reddit, so cut me some slack. So I, 25 female, found out that my husband, 26 male, cheated on me with his coworker. Oh god. He came clean to me a few nights ago because he felt guilty. He said it was a mistake and it only lasted for a week. He said that he loved me and that she didn't mean anything to him. He wanted to work on our marriage and he made a list of marriage counselors that we could see. He blocked her and turned in his 2-week notice so that he could move to another job closer to where we live. He showed me all of their texts and calls. He even sent her a text saying that he didn't want to continue a relationship with her. When he told me that he cheated on me, I felt numb. I wanted to cry, but I chose not to because he doesn't deserve to see me cry. I was so, and I still am incredibly angry at him. How could he throw away our relationship like that? All for some fun. That same night, I contacted a divorce lawyer. I gathered all the texts that he sent her and I packed a bag and I left to stay at my parents' house. When his parents asked why I left him, I told them the truth. They were so angry at him, but they begged me to stay with him. I firmly told them that I was going to leave him no matter how hard he tried to fix his mistakes. In my eyes, my husband is now a cheater and nothing can fix that. He knew I had a zero tolerance rule for cheating and he broke that. Now he has to deal with the consequences. Yeah, you're doing the right thing, OP. A lot of our family members and friends know about his affair now. Some are asking me to reconsider divorcing him because of all the steps he took to reconcile with me. He's been blowing up my phone and reiterating that it meant nothing to him. Well, then I must have meant less than nothing if he was willing to pick her over me. I have no plans on filing for divorce on the grounds of adultery. I just want this to be quick and over so I can move and find somebody actually loyal and not a complete piece of crap. Recently, he called me and against the advice of my lawyer, I picked up. He once again begged me to reconsider and said that I was the only woman in the world for him. I told him it's best for him to get himself a divorce lawyer and to move on. He said that he wouldn't do that because he believed that our marriage was fixable. I told him that our marriage wasn't fixable because of how much of an embarrassment his infidelity was to me. I felt a little bad because he started to cry and apologizing for hurting and embarrassing me, and I just hung up. His parents called me and said that they understood where I was coming from, but that my comment was inappropriate and hurtful. My sister thinks I'm being an a-hole and that I said it out of spite, so was I wrong? Edit, I wrote this in a comment, but I decided to put it here as well. Hi everybody, I just wanted to say thank you for all the kind words to me, and the not so kind words to my future ex-husband lol. I feel so supported here and not alone. Yeah, of course you're not in the wrong, OP, and it's not their business. God, that's so frustrating. Your in-laws and your sister don't get to tell you what to do about your own marriage, OP. Ever. It's your marriage with your partner. Your partner completely betrayed you, and you're kicking him to the curb, as you should. You're 100% doing the right thing, OP, and I know everybody in the comments would have been super supportive too. But yeah, there's no coming back from that. And that's how it should be too. You mess around and you find out. And yeah, sure, your in-laws and your sister are sad about it, and I'm sure they don't want it to happen, but they do not have a say in what you do, OP. Like, are you married to him and did he cheat on you? No. So stay out of it. The top comment literally says, anybody who thinks you are wrong is an a-hole. He is an embarrassment and a loser. I don't get cheaters. Screw him and his parents, and if your sister doesn't stop, screw her too. Yeah, so a little bit more of a blunt version of what I said. And these comments too. You're not wrong. You're under no obligation to stay with a cheater. He crossed one of your boundaries. It's embarrassing for him. And the comment under that says, it's none of his parents' goddamn business. And the person under that said, thank you. I would absolutely not have tolerated being told my comment was inappropriate from his parents. Good grief, man. You run to mummy and daddy to fix your mistakes? That makes me even more angry. Yeah, that's right. And also this comment, not wrong. It's really rich how his parents are saying that your comment was inappropriate and hurtful, like cheating wasn't. And your sister's a grade A a-hole for shaming you for saying it how how it is. And so what if you said it in anger? You're rightfully angry. I wonder if they're all cheaters or something. Given how quick they are to condemn you and not to empathize with how hurt you are, your husband has to live with the consequences, despite everybody else not wanting him to. Yeah, that's a really good point. You didn't do anything wrong, OP. And you didn't even say anything that went too far or like anything that was too rude or nothing like that. And yeah, you have the right to be upset and the right to be angry. Yeah, you're for sure not wrong. The next one is called, am I the a-hole for not inviting my picky eater daughter-in-law to my dinner event? Okay, so before we even read this, I'm pretty sure you're probably not the a-hole. I like to try new food, and there's a chef that I've been following for years. She opened a restaurant near me a few years ago, and it's almost impossible to get a spot. I was extremely lucky and I got one. It is a fixed menu and you eat what you get served for the most part. The menu changes or rotates about every week. They serve unique dishes. Anyway, when I booked it for only 5 people. I invited my sisters, my 2 daughters and me. I also decided that I'd pay for it all since I have a good job and I wanted to treat them. This is where the issue started. I have a daughter-in-law who's a picky eater. I didn't include her in the invites because I knew that she wouldn't eat it. I can't even be certain that she'd try dishes. She's the type of person that eats like 5 foods. Everybody sort of runs in the same circle, and I got a call asking why she wasn't invited, since she knows everybody that was invited. I tried to be polite by saying that it was just a small gathering and moved the conversation along. She kept on pushing, and I told her it's because she's a picky eater, that I'm not paying for somebody to not like the food, or not even try it. She thinks I'm very cruel for excluding her. Oh no, you're not the a-hole. Yeah, the top comment, how has it become acceptable to call people and ask to be invited to an event that you haven't been invited to, and then when you still don't get invited, it's the host who's cruel or selfish or mean? Not the a-hole at all. Keep excluding her when it comes to food events. Why she would even want to come is beyond me. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Like, as soon as they called up, that's super rude. Like, oh, come on, why aren't you inviting me? And yeah, like that comment said, they probably didn't even want to go. Like, I understand that they're upset because they're being excluded, but if anything, OP's doing them a favor. And also, OP's not doing it to like be mean or something. Yeah, this comment too, not the a-hole. People are not entitled to attend every event that people they know are going to, especially if it's an activity they don't particularly enjoy or appreciate. I have friends who like to ski. I have the balance of a drunken toddler, so I don't like to. I don't throw fits when they plan ski trips. Yeah, definitely. It's not like OP's trying to be mean or something. There's a comment here that says info. Daughter-in-law, is this your son's wife or your daughter's wife? Just asking to make sure the couple wasn't invited or just the daughter-in-law. And OP said son's wife. Even if it was my daughter's wife, I still wouldn't invite her, since other half of the couples were not invited. I don't invite my sister's husband, or my daughter's husband, or even my own husband. Yeah, and I bet they're not calling OP upset because they weren't invited. No, I don't feel like you're in the wrong, OP. The next one's called, am I the a-hole for not getting my girlfriend a pastry because she's on a diet? My girlfriend of 2 years is an absolutely gorgeous, stunning woman. I love every inch of her and I don't think she needs to change. Over the past few months, she went through a really rough time with some family and work stuff, and as a result, ditched a lot of her exercise and healthy eating habits. As a result of overeating junk food, she put on about 10 pounds. While I tell her every day that she's beautiful, and I mean it too, she is uncomfortable, and 2 weeks ago started talking about how she wants to cut out junk food, start exercising again, and go back to her baseline weight. I support her efforts to return to healthier habits. Last week on my way home from work, as I often do, I stopped into my favorite bakery in the city. I usually stop in at least once per week, and while in the past I would always pick up something for myself and my girlfriend, this time I only got something for myself because she's been so vocal about how she will cut out pastries. I got myself a big cinnamon roll with cream cheese. When I got home, she saw the bakery bag and asked, what did you get? I had to admit that I didn't get anything for her, since she said that she wants to cut out pastries. She got upset and said that I should have texted her when I'm in the bakery and asked if she wanted anything. I said I just didn't think that she would, since she's been so vocal about wanting to cut out certain foods. She then said that I shouldn't have gotten anything for myself either, since now I'm just flaunting it and making her feel fat. Oh, I don't agree with that. She cried a lot and she's still a bit cold towards me. I'm genuinely confused. Am I the a-hole? No, I don't think so, OP. So she's saying that it would have been nice if you had asked, but at the same time it's actually said that she doesn't want to eat that sort of stuff. It also doesn't sound like you were flaunting it, OP. Like, yeah, I suppose you could have texted her and asked her if she wanted something, but then would she still say like, oh, you know, you're tempting me? You shouldn't be going to places like that, when I said I haven't wanted to go to places like that? Like, I completely understand why you didn't ask her if she wanted something, OP, because you don't want to mess up what she's doing, and you're respecting the fact that she said that she doesn't want to eat that sort of stuff, so you don't want to tempt her with that sort of stuff. That definitely makes sense. The top comment says you're not an a-hole, but you fell right into the trap. No matter what they say, always ask the question, I'm at the pastry store, would you like anything, dear? Trust me, save yourself the headache. It isn't about the pastry. It shows her that you're being mindful and taking her possible needs into consideration. Regardless of how bad she felt about herself on, say, Tuesday, she wants the option to say yes or no to a pastry. Yeah, but also, like this comment says, I see your point, but I also would find it thoughtful and supportive if they purposefully didn't get me a baked good because of the goals that I expressed. That also shows respect and active listening. Her emotions are valid, but he did nothing wrong. And the comment under that said, the thoughtful and supportive thing to do in that case is to eat your big cinnamon roll with cream cheese glaze before you get home. Yeah, you are being supportive, OP. And like that comment said, she expressed her goals and that she doesn't want to eat that sort of stuff. So you're respecting that. I also don't think it's okay for her to say to you that you shouldn't be eating that sort of stuff either. Yeah, the comment under that one says, I'm so confused by all the people saying that it's rude to eat a pastry in front of somebody who's dieting. When I diet, I have no expectations of the people around me not being able to eat treats just because I'm temporarily going without. It's my job to keep myself accountable, not anybody else's. Having said that, everybody's different. If she prefers you not to eat treats in front of her, then that's something you need to discuss and figure out a plan as a couple. I say not the a-hole. Now you know that her preference while she's dieting is for you to A, ask her regardless of if she wants something and let her make her own decision, and B, no, not to eat treats in front of her if that's what you guys agree to for her sake. Like, yeah, maybe you could have eaten it before going home, but that doesn't seem like a good idea either. It's a bit of a damned if you do, damned if you don't sort of situation, it seems like. Yeah, this comment too. I'm going to go against the grain and say not the a-hole. It is a common courtesy in such a situation to ask, but I understand why you didn't. I also don't think that you should have not gotten anything for yourself just because your girlfriend is going on a diet. Overall, this isn't even a big deal and not something that I want to call either of you an a-hole over. Wow, that last sentence applies to so many different posts on here. Yeah, I don't feel like she should have been that upset at you, OP. You are doing what she said, and it's not like you were trying to be hurtful or trying to rub it in her face or something, and that's pretty obvious too. I really like that comment that said, I'd also find it thoughtful and supportive if they didn't get me a baked good because of the goals that I expressed. That also shows respect and active listening. Yeah, I think it's wrong to assume that OP was trying to be mean. Yeah, it seems unreasonable of your girlfriend to be cold towards you still, OP. You even said in your post that she actually said that she wants to cut out pastries. Like, what did you do wrong? And to get that upset and to be super cold towards you, you did the best that you could with the information that you had. Obviously, there needed to be a discussion there first about, hey, like if you go somewhere, can you still ask me if I want something? But yeah, that's about it. Yeah, and like that other comment said, her emotions are valid and hopefully she's okay. But yeah, you didn't do anything wrong, OP. The next one is called, Am I Wrong for Forcing My Brother to Buy Cheese? A few days ago, I, 20 female, took my brother, 13 male, to go hang out with his friends at the mall. I like to dress up sometimes when I go out, and I decided to wear a pair of shoes that get very uncomfortable if I walk in them for too long. The plan was that I'd just sit in the food court while he and his friends walked around. Unfortunately, his friend wasn't able to make it, so we decided to just head home. On the way home, my mum texted us to pick up the ingredients for dinner. I let him stay in the car while I went. The grocery store had all the ingredients that I needed, except the cheese, so I bought everything I could and I went back to my car. My feet were hurting so bad at this point, so I drove us to another grocery store, and I asked my brother to go in and buy the cheese. He got really upset that I was forcing him to go out of his comfort zone. He accused me of faking my pain just to make him uncomfortable. I wound up calling my mum so that she could tell him to go inside. My mum asked him to go inside and pointed out that it was nice of me to take him out to see his friend. She even offered to video call him to walk him through the steps. He completely refused to go alone even with a phone call, so both I and my brother went inside the store, and I made him do all the steps. I made him hold my credit card, and at first he just dropped it on the floor and then walked away, which made me so angry. I made him find and purchase the cheese, and then we went home. I don't think I'm the a-hole. I just think that my brother is an entitled and horrifyingly lazy kid. It makes me so mad that I grew up constantly being pushed out of my comfort zone, but he's coddled by my parents to the point where he feels fine putting other people in difficult, even painful positions, just so he doesn't have to challenge his own boundaries. Right, okay, but he was going to hang out with his friends at the mall, and I'm assuming they were going to go all around the mall and do all the stuff they were going to do. That's not much different from going in somewhere and buying some cheese. Yeah, the top comment. Wait, he can go walk around the mall, but he can't go into a grocery store? Yeah, he's playing everybody. Yeah, surely, right? It does definitely seem like it. There's a comment here that says, yeah, no offense, but your brother sounds very entitled. Somebody needs to tell him to suck it up and do what he's told. He's 13, he shouldn't be doing things like dropping a credit card and then stomping away. And OP said, we frequently have arguments when I tell him this. Today, for instance, he got home from our neighbor's house and I asked him to take some pizza boxes out to the recycling. He started whining and saying that he can never catch a break and that I was rude for asking as soon as he got home rather than waiting for him to get comfortable. After an argument, he finally did it and then slammed his bedroom door and played Fortnite for a few hours. Yeah, he just didn't want to do it. He was happy to go around the mall with his friends and buy stuff or look at stuff or whatever. Yeah, it really just sounds like he doesn't want to do it and gets upset when he doesn't get his own way. But yeah, you took him to the mall so he could be with his friends, but there's no gratitude for you doing that. There's a comment here that says it sounds like your brother's already mastered weaponized incompetence. Yeah, I'm pretty certain that you're not in the wrong, OP. It doesn't sound like you were rude. It doesn't sound like you've been trying to be mean to him or something. It doesn't really sound like like you're being unreasonable at all, but it does sound like he's entitled and not grateful for stuff that you guys do. Yeah, like this comment said, so he's fine with walking around the mall, but going into a supermarket is outside of his comfort zone. I'd stop doing any favors for him. Tell him that driving to the mall is outside of your comfort zone. Yeah, you're not really obligated to do favors for him all the time, or be like his personal chauffeur or something. Yeah, he does seem entitled. Okay, the next one is called, am I the a-hole for cancelling a family barbecue after my brother-in-law ran over my car? Okay, I'm interested. Okay, this all took place last weekend. Family barbecue was supposed to take place. In-laws, extended family, and family is coming over and all that jazz. Brother-in-law drives a huge pickup truck, by the way, and I have a 911. There's a decent size difference. I see them pull in right, and brother-in-law is the driver and he's on his phone. Because of that, he looks right at my car, and as he's pulling in, he's still on his phone, and he hits my car. I guess he thought that he was a lot further than he actually was. Well, my car's totaled. This is when people are just starting to show up too, so I'm basically steaming. I was not in barbecue mood at the time, so I told everybody to take themselves and go home, and that it's cancelled. I'm still waiting on the insurance payout. Also, I bought the car last year, so it's not even paid off. That day after everybody left, my wife is now mad at me because some of her family drove 3 to 5 hours to come just to be sent home on arrival, and I lost 225 grand. I don't care, but my wife seems to though, so I'm asking here to see if I'm the a-hole. Yeah, right. The top comment says, why isn't brother-in-law's insurance covering the vehicle? Edit to add not the a-hole. And OP said his insurance won't cover all of that. To get to my hope correct amount, I'm gonna have to sue him. Yeah, I don't know though. Like, I do understand where the wife's coming from, and if they're a family coming from 5 hours away, that's pretty a-holey, OP. Like, yeah, I understand that you're not in a good mood now, but does that mean that they should all just turn around and go home? Like, did you have to be at the barbecue? Could you be like, okay guys, I'm gonna be gone for a while, you know, like, couldn't it have gone on without you while you're trying to figure this sort of stuff out instead of just cancelling the whole thing? I feel like in a situation like this, obviously you're gonna talk to the brother-in-law because they messed up massively, but it's between you and the brother-in-law, OP. So like, if you guys have to leave, then okay. But yeah, I don't know, if a lot of family has come from a long way away, they don't need to be punished over this. The second top comment says everybody sucks. I was on your side until you said that attendees had come from up to 5 hours away. Can you imagine driving 3 to 5 hours for a party only to find out that it's been cancelled? Unless there was a death in the family or something, I'd be pissed. It absolutely sucks, and I get why you'd not be in the mood to have a party, but to affect the people who'd come so far seems incredibly selfish. At the very least, tell the brother-in-law to F off, but everybody? Nah, that's messed up. Yeah, definitely. Like, of course you're going to be super upset about this, and super angry too, and shocked and everything, but that doesn't mean that you can't slip out and sort of deal with that, or step away a bit from the barbecue. Yeah, this comment's good. You the a-hole, had you taken like 5 minutes to calm down, then it may have occurred to you to discuss the situation with your wife instead of making a unilateral rash decision. A crunched up car has nothing to do with the barbecue, except in your own rage-filled mind. Sending family away without consulting your wife accomplished nothing, except that now everybody's upset instead of just you. Do better, you aren't the center of the universe. Yeah, kinda agree. Okay, the last one for today is called, am I the a-hole for telling my mum that I can't trust her? Earlier today, I, 21 female, had an argument with my mum, which led to me telling her that I couldn't trust her, which she called rude and an overreaction. For years, my mum's had this bad habit of secretly donating our clothes without telling us. Sometimes it was stuff that she thought was too small for us, but most of the time it was just clothes that she didn't like or didn't want us to wear anymore. For example, I really like professional wrestling, and I've received many t-shirts of my favorite wrestlers as gifts over the years, yet the only one that I still have is from this past November. My mum doesn't understand why I like wrestling, probably because I'm a girl, and even when I've tried to ask where my merch has gone, she's always shooed me off. The donation bag would always be in her closet, so if I noticed I was missing an item of clothing, odds are it'd be in the donation bag. Since as early as middle school, when I started noticing that she'd take my clothes, I'd always ask her to please check with me before donating any of my clothes. Of course she didn't, and continued picking things out of the laundry, or even going as far as to into my drawers and into my closet to take stuff. Oh god. A few months ago, I found a really nice dress of mine that I bought in the donation bag, and I blew up, screaming and begging her to ask me anytime she would donate clothes. This seemed to get to her, as she stopped taking things until earlier today. In the car with her today, I looked in the back seat and I noticed the donation bag, but peeking out was the arm of a sweater I had literally bought last week. I grabbed the bag and I noticed my last remaining wrestling t-shirt, about 5 pairs of my socks, and even some bowls and plates that I'd bought for my apartment next year. We began arguing, with her not giving me a clear reason why those were in the donation bag, and I told her that because she went back on her word, I couldn't trust her anymore. I think it was a valid reaction, but she disagrees. Thoughts? Oh my god, yeah, of course it's a valid reaction, OP. You can't trust her. And where the hell does your mum get off going into your stuff and then chucking it out? Why does she feel like she can do that? Oh, that's so bad. I don't know if it's a control AAL thing or like a power thing or something. The bloody audacity. Oh, that's so awful. Yeah, this comment, definitely not the AAL. She's basically stealing your stuff. Get a small storage space and pack everything you own except a week's worth of stuff. Swap out your clothes once a week until you move out, and don't bring any favorite items into her house. Alternatively, or in addition, get a locking knob for your bedroom door in her house. Yeah, with a mum like that though, if OP suddenly put a lock on their door, I don't feel like they're gonna have a good reaction to that. That's so whack, OP. Donate her clothes. You're buying stuff with your own money, and your mum's like, oh yeah, I feel like I can throw that out. Get the hell out of here. What are you talking about? There's a comment here that says the clothes are a separate issue from the dishes. Both are control issues. Giving away things that you'd need when you move out. You need to make it clear that you're going, like it or not. The only difference is that by pulling these sorts of stunts, it'll just make you more eager to accelerate the moving process. Yeah, that's actually messed up, OP. Your mum is stealing from you, and of course you can't trust her. Why would you feel like you could trust her when she does stuff like that? Does she feel like she can do that and there's no consequence? Absolute dingbat behavior. Like, what are you doing? Oh yeah, I can just give away my kid's stuff that they paid for. Are you trying to ruin your relationship with your kid? How ridiculous. Of course you're not overreacting, OP. Neighbor thinks that her kid's bedtime should decide when I can do my hobbies. My neighbor, female 27, has 5 kids and 1 more on the way. She doesn't work. She's not ill or anything, just chooses not to. Lives off benefits and is all sorts of entitled. Tonight I was working on my brother's birthday present, and this included needing to make a few cuts with the chop saw. It was 9 p.m. and I was done by 9:15. In my country, the curfew for noise and noise disturbance is 11:30. She then sends me this long Facebook message about how her kid's bedtime is 8 p.m. and therefore I need to not use power tools after that time, and how I can only use them in the daytime so as to not to wake her kids. I replied saying that I was done now. Bear in mind, she sent that message after 10 minutes of noise, and I said that I couldn't confine my usage to daytime because I have a job. I could have said a lot more. I felt like saying to her, your kids are going to be living with a screaming newborn in a few months, so maybe focus on teaching them to sleep without it being perfectly silent, but I restrained myself. Even so, the very little that I did say clearly set her off. She sent me another paragraph about her kids needing to be ready for school at 8 a.m. and then blocked me. Yeah, that's so wild. It doesn't sound like you're using power tools like every single night, super late at night or something. And if you live around other people, you're going to hear stuff all the time. You can't tell other people, oh, you need to be done by 8 p.m. because that's when my kids go to sleep. Like, that person's going to really struggle living around people, I feel like. And yeah, it's not super disrespectful like you're doing it at 2 in the morning or something. The top comment says, I have a shop and I always try to keep the power tools off after 9. The noise bylaws say 11. However, one day in the dead of winter, our furnace died. I wanted to start up my wood stove as I had a wife and 2 kids and water pipes that I didn't want to burst. I had no small pieces of wood ready. I needed to chop enough to get the fire started at 6 a.m. I absolutely hated my neighbor, but I still felt so bad making noise. I swung the axe 4 times at the wood pile between our houses and then got the fire going. He told all of my neighbors that I always chopped wood at 6 a.m. Yeah, like the comment under that says, well, you don't want to make a liar of your neighbor, do ya? 6 a.m. it is every morning. So a couple of videos ago, we read a post that was called Entitled Coworker was not invited to a coworker's birthday party and thinks that she gets to be an a-hole all day. Update on entitled coworker not invited to birthday party. On Sunday, that entitled coworker needed help. Her car broke down. She asked me to give her a ride to the vet. Her dog needed shots. I gave her a ride. She lives a bit far from the vet. So we were in the car together for about 45 minutes. She was actually pleasant and said that she understands why people always reject her. She knows that her personality is awful, but can't seem to shake the victim mindset. According to her, her upbringing was unmitigated hell. She said that she knows that's no excuse, but she really has tried to be a better person. After hearing her story and what she went through, I wasn't ready to invite her over to hang out, but I had a better understanding of why she is, pain and rejection and shame. We went out to lunch after we dropped the dog off and we had a few drinks and had some fun. She was actually fun. My boss is in Europe right now. We just had a Zoom meeting with the office. She had a fatal heart attack shortly after I dropped her off on Sunday. Oh no. My last interaction with her was positive. She enjoyed the last couple of hours of her life. Good, but I feel weird. Maybe instead of seeing the negative in my co-workers, I should focus on their good qualities. Here 1 minute, gone the next. Last week I also had my cat euthanized. Not a fan of June thus far. Her dogs are safe with the person that she willed them to. To the naysayers, yeah, it is a true story, but if you want it to be a lie, you can think that. Oh, wow. That was not the update I expected to read. Oh, that's so sad and unexpected too. Yeah, the top comment, that was a twist I didn't see coming. Good for you for helping her out with her dog. It's nice that one of her last interactions were positive. I'm sorry about your cat though. Mine passed away last Wednesday. June sucks. Yeah, good job with your co-worker, OP. And yeah, sorry about your cat. Wow, that's so wild. I didn't expect that. The comment under that says, wow, thank you, Open Heart, for responding to her in need. Ending up resolving an issue in your mind and giving her a fine send-off. Life is weird. Yeah, and also the one under that. It's tragic tragic that she passed, but she had a great day. Thank you for being there for her. You could have ignored her request. You gave her that one special day, and she had a friend, if only for a day. Yeah, wow, that's so bittersweet. I didn't expect that, but yeah, good job, OP. Okay, we're moving over to the Am I the A-hole subreddit. Am I the A-hole for breaking up with my girlfriend when she tested me? Okay, so before we even start this, I feel like I'm gonna say no, probably not. You shouldn't really be testing your partner. When I was 16 years old, my girlfriend broke up with me. I was pathetic and I begged her to change her mind. I thought I was in love and I couldn't be without her. I was an idiot. I'm 25 now and I've promised myself that I'll never do that again. I've had several relationships and a few hookups, and when they end, I'm sad, but I'm not weak. I'd been with my girlfriend for a year and a half. We met at a social function for people in our line of work. We hit it off and we started seeing each other more often and then made it exclusive. Recently, we've been talking about moving in together. Our city is expensive and we thought we could save some money. Her apartment's bigger than mine, but I own mine, so we're working stuff out. Last weekend, out of nowhere, she says that we're moving too fast. Okay, no problem. We didn't make any plans that can't be undone yet. Nope, she said that she wanted to break up because she wasn't sure that I was all in. I said, okay. And then she freaked out. Apparently, it was a test to see if I would fight for her. Oh, not this stuff again. Yeah, I don't do that anymore, and I don't appreciate mind games. So I told her that I'd box up anything of hers that might be at my place and she could pick it up. She accused me of being a cold-hearted a-hole that was only using her for horizontal mumbo. I wasn't. I thought we had a future. I wasn't ready to propose or anything, but I thought she was the one. We had met each other's families and she'd spent Christmas with us. My parents and sister love her. I loved her. My mum and dad called me to ask what was going on and I told them. They think I'm being stubborn. My little sister says that I'm being a complete jerk for not forgiving my ex. I remember crying myself to sleep over a girl and I refused to do it again. Am I the a-hole? No, you're not the a-hole, OP, and it's not about that. It's about the fact that you don't play games with your partner, you know? Like, testing each other is so toxic, and that shouldn't be the way that you have to prove to somebody that they mean a lot to you, or like you're actually all in the relationship. Like, that shouldn't be judged by testing each other. Yeah, the top comment, not the a-hole. Couples shouldn't test each other. A person puts their trust in their partner. She accused me of being a cold-hearted a-hole that was only using her for horizontal mumbo. Translation, she didn't want to take responsibility for her actions and shifted the blame onto you to make herself feel better. Not the a-hole. Nobody likes being the subject of weird relationship mind games, and the people that do it are always so surprised when they get dropped because of it. You can find someone better, somebody confident in their relationship with you. And yeah, this one too. Not the a-hole. You don't play with people's feelings like that for a test. That's not okay. People that do stuff like that really need to grow up. Yeah, 100%. I don't know if like you should be thinking that you're weak in the past. I don't know if that's the right mindset, OP. But yeah, I don't feel like you're the a-hole. Yeah, this comment too, not the a-hole. Anyone who decides to test your loyalty and love in a way designed to hurt you and make you beg for them doesn't deserve you. Yeah, it really does sound like a mess around and find out sort of situation. It reminds me of like when somebody cheats on somebody and then they break up and then they say to their partner, oh, why didn't you fight for me? It's like, I'm not the one that needed to be fighting. I trusted you and loved you and believed in the relationship. You're the one who didn't. Yeah, it's super whack, and I don't feel like you're the a-hole in this situation, OP. But also, please don't get in the mindset of feeling like it's weak to have emotions or something, because that sort of attitude is also really toxic. But yeah, scaring your partner into feeling like you're gonna break up with them as a test, that's unbelievably toxic. Okay, the next one that we're gonna read is called Am I the a-hole for selling my late wife's cake recipe to a bakery? My late wife passed 3 years ago. Our 2 kids were in their late 20s at the time. It's been a hard few years, and it's even harder now that I live alone. She had a lovely dark chocolate cherry cake. It was my favorite thing that she would make, and I always requested it for Father's Day. I'm a crap baker, and I've tried to remake it from her notes. The notes aren't very clear, and it never turns out correct. It's depressing spending so much time in it being wrong. I have asked my 2 kids to try and make it, but they've refused to. I was told that they won't figure out the recipe and to stop asking. I went to a local bakery and I asked them to figure it out. They agreed as long as I gave them the permission to sell the cake in the store. It didn't take them long to figure it out, and it's almost the exact same to the one that my wife made. I bought one for Father's Day, and my kids were happy about the cake until I told them the bakery did it. They were pissed that I would sell their mother's recipe to a bakery. This whole week they've been telling me how I'm a jerk for this, and I'm wondering if I really am a jerk. I just wanted to eat her cake again. No, I don't feel like you're the a-hole, OP. When somebody says, oh, you're a jerk for selling it to a bakery, it makes it sound like your intentions of selling it are to like get money out of it. But like you said, you couldn't figure out the recipe, so you went to somebody who does that for a living, and they figured it out. You just missed the cake. Your intentions weren't bad. If you had bad intentions for doing it, then yeah, you would be the a-hole, but I don't understand why they think you're the a-hole. Yeah, the top comment. I think of it as a way for your wife to live on in what she created to bring happiness to others. It's not like you did it for the money. Would the bakery consider using your wife's name as part of the item name? Yeah, not the a-hole. And OP said, I highly doubt it, and I'm not gonna ask. They've already done so much for me, and they gave me the recipe with clear clear instructions. I'm not going to bother them about their cake name. I'm just happy that I can eat it again. Yeah, and fair enough, OP. Oh, that's so sad, and I'm sorry about your wife, OP. There's also a comment here that says info. What happened to selling it? In the post title, you mentioned selling the recipe to the bakery, but in the post body, it sounds like it was a trade in exchange for actually figuring out the recipe. And OP said, well, yeah, I guess trade would be better. Either way, the bakery sells the recipe now. They got the cake off me, and to pay for it, they figured it out. Yeah, I feel like that's fair enough, OP, and I don't feel like it's fair that your kids are calling you an a-hole. OP said in a comment here, the kids hate that a random person owns and is selling mum's cakes. And like the comment under that says, I'd reframe it as more people get to enjoy the magic of her cake. Yeah, 100%. It doesn't have to be negative. Yeah, like this other comment says, not the a-hole. Your children have no right to complain about this. They were fine with it when they were enjoying the cake, weren't they? They didn't want to attempt the recipe. The bakery did. Everybody gets to have cake again. Yeah, I don't feel like it needs to be viewed as something negative. And also, it's not your fault that you couldn't make the cake, OP. Like, you missed the cake, you couldn't make it, your kids wouldn't try to make it, so you went to somebody who could make it, and now other people who go to the bakery can also enjoy the cake. I don't think that's bad, and I definitely don't feel like you're the a-hole, OP. You had good intentions. Wow, the next one that we're gonna read. My pregnant wife's sister offered to sleep with me. My wife, 24 female, and I, 24 male, have been together for 3 years and married for about 6 months. We found out that we're gonna be parents, and we're both very excited. We told our families over the weekend, and everybody was happy for us. This morning, I got a text from my wife's sister, 21 female, saying that she knows that women can get emotionally and physically abusive and can put a stop to intimacy during pregnancy, and that she's willing to quote-unquote help me out anytime sexually or emotionally during and after the pregnancy. Obviously, I have no interest in anybody other than my wife, but how do I tell her what her sister offered? My wife has always been there for her sister, and they've always been super close. Her sister was the maid of honor at our wedding. I don't want my wife to lose that bond, and it would destroy her if she found out that her sister was willing to betray her like that. At the same time though, her sister is a snake and is willing to ruin our marriage and the life of her soon-to-be nephew or niece for what I'm guessing is a childish crush on me. My first priority is my wife and unborn child, and anybody else can go to hell. How do I approach this situation? There's literally no good outcome. I can tell my wife tonight, she'll be absolutely devastated. I'll always be there for her, and I know her parents will be on her side, but losing a 20-year bond with her own sibling while in such a vulnerable state sounds terrible. How can I possibly tell my wife that the sister that she loved and looked after for so many years wanted to sleep with her husband while she was pregnant? If I don't tell her soon and tell her later, she may lose her trust in me. If I don't tell her at all, my wife will be close with somebody who clearly does not care for her and could easily betray her again in the future. Yeah, oh my god, you definitely need to tell your wife, OP. Your wife's sister is the one who said that to you. Definitely tell your wife about it immediately. If you're not honest with your wife about it immediately, OP, it could get super ugly. Like, your wife's sister might try to say all sorts of stuff about you, OP. Yeah, the top comment, sorry dude, you have to tell your wife tonight. Otherwise, sister-in-law is going to try to twist it and try to make it look like this was your idea. Yeah, I hope you screenshotted her text, OP. And like the comment under that said, exactly, Key, show your wife the text. It's proof that your wife's sister was hitting on you, not the other way around. It'll also show your wife that you're not hiding anything and not attempting to hide anything. I don't think you can avoid hurting your wife at all in this situation, but you can at least minimize any hurt by being open with her. And if your wife asks you why you didn't show her sister-in-law's text as soon as you read it, tell her the truth about that too. You didn't know how to handle it and you didn't want this situation to hurt or worry her. Keep this in mind going forward as a general rule, not a specific one. Most of the pain inflicted by this kind of situation will be spared by partners trusting each other to be open and to be open with them about anything. Think about that. How would you feel if 5 or 10 years from now, you found out that your best friend was repeatedly making passes at your wife, and even if he wasn't doing it anymore, would that make any difference to the way that you felt about her? Yeah, could not agree more. You have to tell your wife, OP. And also show your wife this Reddit post if you want to too. Be like, hey, I didn't know what to do. I even asked people on Reddit, but the bottom line, the cornerstone of this is that you always have to be honest with your wife, OP. If you're not and you try and hide it, it's only going to make it worse. Because yeah, like you said, the sister-in-law is a snake and you don't know what she's going to do. So yeah, make sure your wife knows about it immediately. And I also feel like you should think about how you would feel if you were your wife. And I'm pretty sure if you were your wife in this situation, you'd be hoping that your partner would be honest and actually tell you about it. Because yeah, you can't break that trust that you have between you and your wife, OP. And yeah, the sister-in-law sucks, but it was her choice to say that and it's not your responsibility to hide it. Also, like this comment says, not the a-hole, this is a very simple solution, OP. Rip the band-aid off and tell your wife. Your wife's sister betrayed you, your wife, your marriage, and her family the second that she tried to inject that toxicity into your relationship. This type of person is the same kind of manipulative excrement that'll turn around and say that she was testing your loyalty to her sister, your wife. If you give her any warning at all that you might tell your wife, don't give her the opportunity to manipulate. Tell your wife the truth before she even has a chance to twist facts and destroy your marriage. Your wife's devastation will pale in comparison to pussyfooting the situation in a way that calls your loyalty into question. Sister needs to be dealt with swiftly and decisively now. She did the mess around part, and now she needs to find out, and it's better now than later. Yeah, definitely. Good luck with that, OP. The next one that we're going to read is called Am I the A-hole for not being grateful for my birthday surprise? I've been crying for hours yesterday and today, receiving texts on how I'm ungrateful. This crap doesn't make any sense to me. I'm trying to see the good intentions, but call me blind because I don't see any. I've never had a birthday party or dinner, and it's something that I've always wanted, but I don't know why. I always thought it was unattainable in my adult life. I was talking to my friend and telling her how my family never celebrates birthdays because my dad is really religious, and how I always feel lonely on my birthday. She asked me why I didn't celebrate my birthday now that I was an adult, and I thought, yeah, why don't I celebrate myself now that I'm grown up? I planned myself a birthday dinner at a fancy restaurant, and I told everybody that as long as they kept their order under 35, I'd pay for it. So I made sure to work overtime for 3 months in advance because I heard there's always a fight about the bill, so I didn't want that to be a reason for conflict on my birthday. I invited 12 people that said they'd come, family and friends, which include my mum now that my daddy's dead. She's no longer super religious for some reason. Yesterday I had my nails, makeup and my hair done professionally. I just wanted to look really nice, and I've actually only been to formal events like 3 different times in my life, so I was happy to be able to dress up nicely for once. I got to my dinner, sat at the table and waited 2 hours, and I kept getting calls from people telling me they were running late to not being able to come anymore. And after 2 hours, everybody finally told me that they weren't coming. They didn't tell me before the dinner. They were all telling me at the time of the reservation or later. The waiter felt so bad because I was crying while I was on the phone with somebody I considered to be my friend, telling me that she wasn't coming for me and that even though I didn't order a meal, he gave me a free birthday slice. I didn't even get any pictures in my outfit because I thought somebody would help take them for me at the restaurant. And by the time I left the restaurant, my makeup was ruined. My mum called me on my way home and asked me to stop at her house because she had a present for me. She said she's sorry that she didn't come, but she was feeling extremely unwell and she wanted to have a present at least. I go to her house and I open the door to a surprise, and people say that my face was all messed up because I'd been crying. So someone says, oh, she thought that we forgot her. And I look at the 12 people that were invited to my dinner, and I'm just disappointed that they traded what I wanted for my birthday for this. They left me stranded and humiliated at a restaurant for hours. I left the surprise party after 5 minutes and I just told my mum to keep a present to herself. I'm sorry, but am I the gay-hole for not seeing a good intention here? Am I overreacting? No, definitely not, OP. And that's not a good way to do a surprise. Like what, put you through that at the restaurant, making you feel awful, and then give you a surprise party that you didn't even want? That's not fun. Yeah, like this comment says, not the gay-hole, that's an awful surprise. Tear you down and make you feel awful first? I mean, really, who does that? And the top comment too, not the gay-hole. You planned what you wanted for your birthday, your friends and family completely disregarded that, lied to you, and left you feeling ignored and unwanted on your birthday. They may have had the best of intentions, but that paves the road to hell. In the end, it's not intentions that matter, but results. Had they done this any other day, things would have worked out well. Instead, they left you alone and feeling unwanted. In no way, shape or form are you to blame here. And OP said, I just don't understand how they thought it was a good idea. Yeah, either, OP. It doesn't even make any sense. And I feel like it's pretty obviously not a good idea too. Like, oh yeah, make you feel like crap and then surprise you. Why? That's so awful. Oh, that sucks, OP. I'm sorry that you had to deal with that. But yeah, of course you're not the a-hole. I hope you can find some good people that don't do stuff like this. Okay, the last one that we're going to read is on Am I Wrong? Lady on a plane starts preaching loudly. I respond in kind. I had a flight cancelled and rescheduled thanks to the storms last week. After the rebooked flight landed, but before we deplaned, a woman near us loudly declared that we should all thank Jesus that our flight made it and that we should give him a round of applause. I began clapping and yelled, "Woohoo! Thank you, Satan. You rule." I got a dirty look from my girlfriend. 2 different ladies in the row in front of us admonished me. One of them said she has her beliefs and you have yours. I told her the difference was I wasn't loudly bothering her with mine. I was merely responding to her preaching. On the way home, my girlfriend told me I caused an unnecessary human interaction and I shouldn't have said anything. Am I wrong? Yeah, this comment. On the way home, my girlfriend told me I caused an unnecessary human interaction. I hate to tell you, but I think your girlfriend is an alien spy. Unnecessary human interaction? Yeah, I thought that sounded funny too. And like this comment says, I'd rather thank the 2 people up front who know how to, fly the damn plane. Yeah, 100%. But are you wrong, OP? I don't really think so. Unnecessary, yeah, probably. Like the whole thing seems kind of obnoxious. Yeah, like this comment says, wrong? I don't think so. It was probably unnecessary, but I don't know if I'd say wrong. Your girlfriend really said an unnecessary human interaction? Are you dating a robot? Yeah, and the comment under that says, unnecessary is a good way to describe this entire situation. Yeah, definitely. None of this needed to happen. But does that mean you're wrong? Oh, I don't know. Maybe a little little bit, but not really. I feel like the best thing to do would have been to ignore it. There's a comment here that says, listen, on Reddit this is funny. In real life it's just adding to the irritation of somebody being loud and unnecessary. I would have wanted you both to shut the hell up, to be honest, precisely because of what your girlfriend said. Yeah, for sure, I definitely agree with that. If I was on this flight, I would have been like, oh, come on. I'm sure you're not like a bad person or something, OP, like you're not an a-hole. But yeah, instead of adding to the situation, I feel like you should have ignored it. Am I the a-hole for reminding my friend that she married for intelligence? And look where it got her. I, 35 female, met my husband Vince. Oh my god. What is going on? This is the first time I've ever read Vince in a post. Wow, this is going to be weird to read. I, 35 female, met my husband Vince, 36 male, after he saved me from drowning at a pool party when I was 18. I took him out for lunch the following week to thank him for saving me, and we soon fell in love and began dating. At the time, Vince worked a blue-collar job while I was studying at uni. We ended up getting married, and Vince supported me throughout my entire education up until I got my PhD. Vince always told me that he wanted to study in university but had learning disabilities that made it difficult for him to study in a classroom. At times he was embarrassed by the fact that he had to work twice as hard compared to people around him, but I always found that to be admirable about him. When I finished my studies and I got a well-paying job, I convinced Vince to give his dream of studying another go. Last year he was finally accepted into a nursing program at our local university. He's working hard to achieve his dream and I'm incredibly proud of him. Last week my friend Alba, 36 female, came to visit with her son so our children could play together. Alba was my roommate during my first year in university. She began dating her husband Leo around the same time that I started dating Vince. Leo was an obnoxious law student who later on became an even more obnoxious attorney. He was a know-it-all who prided himself on his intelligence, which for some reason attracted Alba. At the time, Alba would sometimes tease me that I could do better than Vince and would offer to set me up with one of Leo's law school buddies, but I'd always refuse and she eventually dropped the subject. Alba and Leo are currently going through a nasty divorce that stems from him cheating on her. Wow, so Alba has the audacity to say that you could do better, OP, all the while her partner's a bloody cheater. Yeah, I don't know, I'm feeling pretty sus about Alba. Quite frankly, he's dragging her through the mud and using connections to try to leave her as penniless as possible. As we were chatting and catching up, Alba began to express concern over the fact that my eldest son, 7 male, was recently diagnosed with dyslexia. Alba began telling me how she's worried that my son will be academically challenged like his father and what that could entail for his future. Wow, Alba loves to say stuff that she has no place saying. Before I could even respond, she told me how I should have married somebody smart while I had the chance so that I would have kids like hers. Oh my god, this is so annoying. Alba's son is an incredibly bright boy and a straight-A student. I told Alba her advice was unnecessary and I reminded her where marrying for intelligence got her. I then proceeded to tell her that I'd rather have my son grow up to be an honest, hard-working person like his father than an academically gifted jerk who wasn't even smart enough to know that sleeping with his secretary could have some consequences on his marriage like her husband. Hell yeah, OP. Alba was deeply hurt by what I've said and stormed out with her son. Wait, hold on a second. So it's perfectly okay for Alba to say stuff out of line to you, but the second that you say something, and you said something true by the way, OP, as soon as you say that to her, it's not okay and she storms out. Alba's not a very good friend, OP. Some mutual friends are now chiming in and telling me that I was too harsh on Alba for using her failing marriage to prove my point and I should apologize. Small update. First of all, I want to thank you for all your replies. I wanted to address a couple of things. Many of you asked why Alba and I remained friends despite her previous remarks. Yeah, I was thinking that. Alba and I grew apart during our 3rd year in uni. We only remained friends by association since we have a lot of shared mutual friends. We became close again after our son started playing basketball together at the local community center and became friends. I figured that becoming a mother made her more mature and she didn't give me any reason to suspect otherwise. I've decided to send her a message saying that the way that she spoke about my husband and son was unacceptable and therefore she's no longer welcome in my home. However, I don't want our sons to lose their friendship and therefore I'm willing to remain civil around the kids and still organize play dates. She didn't reply to me just yet, but I truly hope that she loves her son enough to put her ego aside and remain civil for the sake of our kids. Yeah, that's such a good move, OP. I've yet to notify Vince about this entire situation since he's vigorously studying for an important quiz that's coming up next week. And I know that if he heard what Alba said about him and our boy, it would make him upset and he wouldn't be able to continue studying properly. Unless something crazy happens in the meantime, I'll probably update him next week after he's done with the quiz. Oh my god, Alba is not a good friend at all, OP. And you 100% did the right thing by sending that message. That was a super good message. I'm assuming the comments pretty much said the same thing about Alba not being a good friend. Like the audacity of her for like all of the stuff that she said. But Alba has the gall to talk down about your husband and disrespect your husband and your son, when by the way, it's super obvious that your partner, OP, is a much better person than Alba's partner. I can't believe the disrespect. And also, who said that your partner and your son weren't intelligent? And also, like you said, OP, you can be academically gifted, but you can also be a total dumbass at the same time. The top comment comment says, okay, can I just say that intelligence doesn't have anything to do with dyslexia, that incredibly intelligent people can have it, and they can also have other learning disorders or be kinetic learners, because for her to say that your husband isn't intelligent is just a level of a-holery that's completely unacceptable. Having an education versus not having an education is also not a measure of intelligence. Trust me, I have a PhD too, and I also know a lot of brilliant people without college diplomas. Now that my rant's over, not the a-hole, and while certainly you should be concerned if your child has a learning disability, and you should pursue support for him, that doesn't make him stupid or otherwise lacking. Yeah, that's a really good comment. The comment under that one says she insults your husband and your son, and then gets mad when you point out that the qualities that she seems to think are lacking are the same ones that have her going through a really bad divorce. You are not harsh enough, OP. Not the a-hole, and you don't need friends like her. And the one under that too. I'm just chiming in to say that your husband sounds amazing, and I hope he thrives in his nursing program. Totally not the a-hole. And OP said, thank you so much. He really is an amazing person, and I'm so glad to have him in my life. I think Albert deep down knows that she married an awful person, and lashing out at you and saying that your husband is stupid and saying that her husband is smart is sort of like a way to deflect that and cope with the fact that he's not a good person. Either way, that was so out of line, and you're definitely not the a-hole, OP. The next one is called, am I the a-hole for telling my son that I have no plans to motivate or support him after he's an adult? My oldest kid is a good kid, but kind of lazy. His mum has always protected him. She has her reasons. Her first husband and child passed away about 22 years ago. 2 years after that, we met, we fell in love, got married, and had a kid. Unfortunately for me, our son's birth was a catalyst for a regression for her. He could do no wrong. If I tried to punish or even just correct him, she'd get upset and start crying or fight with me. If he found something difficult and I wanted him to work through it or try harder, she'd step in and tell me to back off or actually just do it for him. This led to our divorce, as I wanted to be a father and not a spectator. She fought so I wouldn't get custody. I ended up with visitation. My kid wouldn't do anything though. He wouldn't bring his homework over, and all he wanted to do was play video games. If I didn't let him, he had tantrums. It was so exhausting, and she would always back him up. It was always my fault. I remarried to my wife Diane. We have 2 children and are doing our best to raise them right. My son stopped coming over when he was 14. I do still invite him, but he rarely responds. My child support just stopped. His mum's been giving it to him to do whatever he wanted for the last 3 years. Not my problem. He called me to see if I could help him with money. I asked him what for. He said that his mum can't give him the allowance that he's used to. I asked if he was going to be attending some sort of post-secondary school. He said no. I told him to get a job. His mum has lost her crap. She said that she'll take me back to court so her poor baby can live his life his way. I wished for the odds to be ever in her favor, and I hung up. Now that he's an adult, I never have to talk to her again. It's too bad because I loved her very much, but not anymore. My son asked me to help him find a job, and I said I would. I told him to send me his resume. I've been waiting 3 weeks for it. He called me yesterday to see if I'd made any progress on finding him a job. I said he never sent me his resume. He got upset that I hadn't reminded him. It was one thing. I told him that I wasn't going to motivate him to do anything, that I would be there if he needed help, but that it would never be money again. I let him come over and I helped him with the resume. I also talked to him about the trades or a community college. He is beginning to understand how messed up his future is now that his mum can't do everything for him. He's upset with his mum now because he doesn't have life skills, and she's mad at me for showing him the truth. Oh, that's so sad. Yeah, you're not the a-hole, OP. Shielding your kid from the real world is never going to do anything good, and raising them to think that they can get whatever they want whenever they want, obviously that's going to end up bad as well. And yeah, of course his mum's in the wrong. What, she wanted him to be dependent on her forever or something? Yeah, this comment, not the a-hole. At least it seems that he starts realizing life is for him to manage. I know people who are almost 40 and they still count on their mum to solve their problems. Yeah, definitely. And the good thing about this is he is still young, so like there definitely is still hope. But yeah, that's such a sad situation, and I don't understand what his mum was even thinking, really. Like, oh, you're my precious little baby and you can have everything you want. That doesn't work out though when you grow up. And yeah, it doesn't really sound like you did anything out of line, OP. Yeah, like this comment says, it's not too late. I understand not giving him money as that for him would be enabling, but give him all the other kinds of support. His utter lack of skills and life knowledge is not his fault. His mother didn't teach him any of that. To me, that's neglect. You have a huge opportunity here to build a relationship with your son. Please don't let your justified anger at his mother ruin that chance. Teach him laundry, basic cooking, interview etiquette, how to change a flat tire and check the oil in his car. If he wants community college or trade school, help him with the applications. Will you help pay for further education? I think that would be a good thing to do. Pay the school directly though. Make a contract with him that if he fails, he must pay you back. Yeah, I 100% agree with that comment. It's super neglectful of the mum. Yeah, and also this comment too. Not the a-hole, do try to remain patient with him. Now that he is starting to be aware that he's missing basic skills, it'll be very frustrating for him to be an emotional child walking around in the body of a man, being treated like an adult, and not actually having much practice behaving like one. Keep your your word on the never money again though. That kid's kinda screwed, and really by not much of his own fault. He's collateral damage of your wife's trauma and grief that went a little too sideways. Yeah, 100%. It sounds like you're doing the right thing, OP. You're just gonna have to be like super patient. The next one is called, am I the a-hole for abandoning my parents at an island in the Caribbean so I could get back to our cruise in time? I graduated from high school back in December. As a gift, my parents got me a cruise. It was also for my 18th birthday. It was also a family vacation. We usually stay at all-inclusive resorts, but I've always wanted to go on a cruise. I told my parents it was different and that if we went on excursions, we had to follow the schedule no matter what. Well, it was a week-long cruise and they would not head back to the ship when I said it was time to go. They were busy shopping and bargaining with the locals. I finally said that I was heading back to the ship. My mum waved me off. They missed the departure by a lot, like 45 minutes. They got a hold of me through WhatsApp. They wanted to know why I didn't get the boat to wait for them. Oh my god. You've got the most entitled parents ever, OP. I wanted to scream that they weren't going to inconvenience 3,998 people because two couldn't understand what a bloody schedule was. They ended up having to fly to the next port from there and it was expensive. Yeah, sucked in. And they're pissed at me for leaving them behind. I don't even know what I was supposed to do. They literally told me that they knew what they were doing. I wish I'd never asked for this. They're making me miserable because I left without them. Oh, that's so frustrating and so entitled. And there's no way that you'd ever be the a-hole here, OP. Like, oh, why didn't you tell the cruise ship to wait for us? Imagine having the audacity to feel like that was okay. So unbelievably entitled. Oh, that's insufferable. And I imagine if they were acting like this, the rest of the trip with them would have been hell anyway. Like, these are not the people you want to travel with. Yeah, the top comment, not the a-hole. They seriously think the ship will delay for 45 minutes? Yeah, no. The docks and ship have a schedule to keep. They're adults and they need to be responsible for getting back on time, which is something that you have figured out in less than 6 months of being an adult. At least you don't have to go on any more vacations with them after this. Yeah, and the comment under that one too. Yeah, this, not the a-hole. I've been on a cruise and they make it crystal clear that the ship waits for nobody. The parents messed around and they found out. Yeah, and they're not happy about it, and because they're so self-centered and entitled, they're blaming their 18-year-old kid for this. Blaming OP for their own mistake. Oh, that's so unbelievably frustrating. And also this comment, what precisely did they think that you could have done? Kidnapped the captain? Staged your own drowning? You didn't abandon them, they abandoned you. Don't let them weasel word this around to being your fault in any way. I'm really sorry your parents have ruined this for you. It's pretty pathetic of them to blame you for their extremely easy to avoid deliberate bad decision. They owe you at least 2 apologies. One for ignoring your sage advice in the first place, and second for behaving like spoiled 4-year-olds. Not the a-hole, and I really hope you make your parents read this thread. Yeah, that's a really good idea, OP. Definitely make them read this. Actually, maybe not. Is that wise? If they're acting like this, they're probably only going to be really upset and probably defensive, and they'll be even more upset at you, OP. But yeah, people like this need to read stuff like this. Like, they need to read all of these comments. And yeah, like that comment said, what did they even expect you to do? That's so wild. Like this comment says, not the a-hole. Your parents need to adult better. The next one is called, am I the a-hole for not agreeing to my husband's new chore list after I switched my work hours without his approval? My husband, 38 male, and I, 37 female, have been married for 9 years and we have 2 kids, 8 and 6. He works a hybrid schedule, so he's home 2 to 3 days a week. I'm a nurse at an understaffed hospital. Due to the staffing shortage, I was offered to temporarily switch my work hours to the overnight shift. It came with a nice bump in pay, which could really help us out financially. My husband was very much against it because of the changes it would make to our day-to-day lives. I initially declined the offer, but they countered with an even higher pay bump, so I took it. It's been 5 months since I changed hours and my husband hates it. My hours are now 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. Monday to Thursday, and midnight to 9 a.m. Sunday morning. I usually make it home just in time to send the kids off to school, run some errands or get some things done at home in the morning, and then sleep until the kids' bedtime and I head to work. I like to think I've gotten pretty efficient at it since the change, but my husband disagrees. I won't lie, he has had to pick up a lot of kid-related things that we used to share. Pretty much any rides they need are done by him. Any weekday activities he takes care of. Now that the kids are done with school and we have them in a summer daycare program, and he does all the drop-offs and all the pickups. He's been complaining to me ever since the kids' school year ended that this isn't working for him anymore. He keeps on asking when I can switch my hours back. I told him that the original plan was 6 to 8 months, so it could be soon, but it's only been 5 months. If I'm being honest, I don't know if I want to switch back. I'm making and saving a lot more money. Once I adjusted to the sleep schedule, I feel like I actually have more energy and I can get more stuff done when I get home from work. This past weekend, my husband practically begged me to ask my supervisor when I can switch my hours back. I finally told him that I'm not sure if I want to do that. He flipped out on me. He told me that this isn't what he signed up for when we got married. He told me that he feels lied to because not only did I accept the offer without his final approval, but now I'm going back on my word that it would be temporary. He said that if I'm going to keep my current night shift, then I need to do more things at home since I have the whole place to myself during the day. I asked him what more he thinks I should do, and he actually made a list. He put pretty much all the yard work on there, which is usually stuff that he takes care of and that I don't know how to do. I told him I don't know how to do all of that stuff, and he told me, if I can learn how to fold a fitted sheet, you can learn how to mow the lawn. I told him that doesn't seem like a fair division of labor, and he told me that he's taken on all the kid stuff, so I need to do more of everything else. I told him that doing manual labor after I worked all night isn't going to work for me, and he told me to change my hours back then. Yeah, right, okay, I do feel like you're the a-hole, OP. Yeah, okay, this one is also marked as a-hole. Yeah, the top comment, you the a-hole. Lol, of course you have more energy now. It sounds like all you do is sleep and work. Your husband has had to take over every single other task. Learning how to mow the lawn isn't that hard, especially since Google is a thing. Suck it up like he has for the last 5 months and do the yard work. Don't forget to weed whack and edge and clean up all the clippings. Yeah, how wild. I was thinking that too when they said they've got more energy now. Like, yeah, I wonder why. Yeah, and also this comment, I'm making and saving a lot more money. I'm a little bit worried about this. It's not we're saving a lot more money. Hopefully it's just wording, but if they have separate finances and the husband has had to take on nearly the full household load so that OP can make herself more money. And the comment under that says, I don't think it's just wording. OP doesn't seem to think of herself as a partner at all. You the a-hole. Yeah, it really did sound like that. And also it said I usually make it home just in time to see the kids off to school and then sleep. So obviously you're not really spending any time with the kids or your husband. Yeah, this comment too, you the a-hole. You basically abandoned all of your responsibilities and then claimed that you're too dumb to learn how to do yard work. My neighbor has one arm and she mows her lawn. I can give you her number if you need tips. And how could you possibly say it doesn't sound like a fair division of labor? It sounds like you don't do anything at home to help with the kids. So what do you mean division when it's only him doing it all? Taking a night shift seems to be a good thing for you, but at the expense of your family, you sound like a selfish spouse. You the a-hole. Yeah, the husband doesn't look bad in this, and it said that he works a hybrid schedule, so he's home 2 to 3 days a week, but he is still working. Yeah, no, I do feel like you're the a-hole, OP. You're the a-hole on all counts. The first sign is accepting the second offer without telling him and talking to him about it in detail, and he was hesitant for a reason. I was wondering about if he was being too controlling, but given what you have said, he has every right to be upset. Yeah, 100%, I was thinking that too. And like when OP said that they didn't have their husband's final approval, like yeah, if what you're doing is going to affect your family this much and affect your husband this much, then yeah, you do both need to be okay with it. But they were acting like the husband was being super controlling. But yeah, he has got every right to be upset. And second, it sounds like your husband has become the primary parent, and how you're phrasing it is that you get to work, run some errands or do something at home and then sleep. It sounds like you're the only person that's benefiting from this schedule. You're kind of living like you don't have a family to take care of, or like the fun but absent parent. And 3, if you decide to switch permanently, you're doing so for selfish reasons. And 4, your husband's request is to do more chores to lighten his increased load. He's being crushed by the load, and your best excuse is that you don't want to do manual labor after work. Yard work is only one level more difficult than indoor chores. Your relationship went from 50-50 to a 10-90, and I'm giving you 10 because you're earning money towards your family. Considering that these posts usually try to paint themselves in the best light, I can only imagine what your husband's side of the story is. The next one is called, Am I the a-hole for telling all of my kids it's my inheritance and not using it to get them out of debt? I have 3 kids. They all decided to go to expensive colleges. I paid for their books and gave them money for food plan, but tuition was on them. They knew from the beginning that college would be on them. My youngest took some community college classes to save money. The rest of the kids didn't do much to lower their expenses. They're all out of college and they've all got a whole bunch of debt. My mother passed away and she gave me the house. I'm selling it for around $500,000. I plan to use some of it for a big vacation and then the rest to go into my retirement fund. I decided to let the kids have a look at the home first before it went on the market. It's a really nice area and the house is great. They were surprised by the amount and all of them couldn't afford it. I told them I plan to sell it soon. This started an argument about how I came into so much money, but didn't plan to give them any of it. I told them it's my inheritance from my mother. She wanted me to have this. The argument escalated even more and they want me to pay off their school debt. If I did, that'd be like 3/4 of my inheritance. So I told them no. I reminded them that when I die, they'll have their own inheritance from me, but I'm not dead yet. They're pissed at me. No, it's your inheritance, OP. You're not the a-hole. Yeah, the top comment. If your mother wanted them to have money, she would have put it in her will. You told them that they'd have to pay for their own tuition. They're adults. You provided for them when they were children, but they chose to attend their schools and accepted that it would put them into debt, not the a-hole. And OP said, yeah, the debt annoys me. I tried to get them to go to cheaper colleges, but they didn't. I really tried to get them to go cheaper. It kind of worked for my youngest. 2 of them went to private colleges that were around $60,000 a year. That doesn't include room and board. One of them turned down almost a free ride since the college wasn't up to their standards. It was a good state college here. I truly don't think it helped them in the long run. The degrees they came out with don't correlate with the debt that they got in. Oh yeah, then you're even more not the a-hole, OP. We're starting the episode on the relationship subreddit today, and oh god, I don't know if I'm ready for this one. My 27 female best friend's husband, 27 male, told me that I'm his obsession. I'm using a throwaway account for obvious reasons, and buckle up because it's a long one. Let me give you some backstory. I met my best friend 6 years ago, and we've been inseparable ever since. Shortly after us meeting, she started dating her now husband, and naturally with us spending so much time together, we all eventually became very close friends. About 2 years ago or so, he started referring to me as his sister, telling my best friend and I that I was like the sister that he never had, to which at the time I did agree, and for a while it was just that. Eventually I started feeling as though he uses the title to justify how close we are and to push the boundaries of our friendship, and this sibling label feels like a way to make our closeness appear more innocent to others. I've been onto the fact that he tends to walk the line of how friendly he can be with me, and while I've maintained our close and playful friendship, I've always been aware and cautious that he might be pushing his boundaries. His wife, my best friend, has seen and known about our closeness, but she's never shown any discomfort or concern, which has been confusing to me because I've definitely felt that he sometimes overstepped in front of her, and she's never said anything. Let me give you a few examples in chronological order, I think. Starting about 3 years ago, he got blackout drunk at a get-together once and started throwing up outside. My best friend asked me to watch him because she doesn't handle puke well, so I stayed with him. And after a bit, he started trying to hold my hand, and despite me pulling away, he kept trying after a few seconds. I told myself that he was so drunk that he must have thought that I was my best friend and confused us, but something about it felt off. The next day, he told us that he'd blacked out and didn't remember a thing, so I gave him the benefit of the doubt and I never mentioned anything. But a few weeks later, he brought up something that he told me that day while we were outside, something that he wouldn't have remembered telling me if he'd actually been blacked out. I don't remember the context of the situation, but one day at their house, there was nowhere to sit, and he pat his lap and then motioned for me to sit on his lap. His wife was sitting right next to him and either didn't see or didn't think it was weird, I guess. Another time, my best friend and I went out for happy hour and got drunk, and he had to come pick us up. Once we got home, I was laying on the couch with my eyes shut, and he came and sat next to me and started talking to me. I honestly don't remember what he said, but I remember feeling him scoot closer to me until his thigh was touching my arm, and I remember telling him that he needed to scoot over before his wife came and thought something was up. He didn't end up moving, and she walked out and asked what was going on, and he said that he was just checking on me. Her and I went back to the room, and she asked me something along the lines of, was he being inappropriate? And I told her no, because I honestly didn't know what to think. Was he? Was that enough to be considered inappropriate? He didn't seem to be trying to hide it at all, which made me think that I was maybe thinking too deep into it. Anyway, that was never brought up again either. Another time I was at their house and I went to go say hi to him with a hug. My best friend was in their room and he hugged me, and despite me trying to pull away twice, he didn't let go until he heard the bedroom door open. Hug was maybe 7 or so seconds long, which we never do. Oh god, this is so hard to read. I can't stand this sort of stuff. Recently we were all out together and I looked up at him and said something, and he looked me in the eyes and said, "Oh, those eyes," and just stared into my soul literally as we were standing directly next to his wife. She again either didn't notice or didn't think it was weird. Also, a few months ago, he grabbed my phone without me noticing and cleared out all of my apps. I hadn't noticed that he ever knew my password, and when I asked him how long he'd known it, he told me a few years. Oh god. This made me so uncomfortable that I changed the password right away because I couldn't stop imagining him purposely going through it and finding like my nudes or something, which I keep in my hidden folder. But if he has my password, what difference does it make? A few weeks later, he noticed I had changed it, and though he didn't directly say anything, I caught the vibe that he wasn't happy about it. Ew. So after all of these things, and a few I'm probably forgetting, his mental health starts visibly declining, especially when he's around me. He gets quiet and moody. He starts hinting that he's dealing with something, but won't say what it is. And a few months ago, he started slowly hinting that the thing is really serious, and he can't trust anybody with the information. At this point, I'm mentally preparing myself for a confession of love. Despite everything, I didn't want to believe it. No one ever expects to find themselves in a situation like this. And then a couple of days ago, it happened, kinda. He told me flat out that he recently realized that he has something called erotomania, and that he wanted to clarify that he's never cheated on his wife and that he loves her very much, but it's something that's consuming him and he doesn't know how to handle it on his own anymore. He said that it's all he thinks about and that he has a serious obsession. Definition for those of you who don't know what it is, because I sure didn't. Erotomania is a rare psychotic disorder and a subtype of delusional disorder that causes people to have delusions that somebody else is in love with them. The person believed to be in love with them is usually someone of a higher social or financial status, like a celebrity or boss or president, who is out of reach or already in a relationship. Also, for context, this one is the disorder that Joe from You also suffers from. I mention that because he told me that he feels a connection to Joe in a non-crazy way, is what he said. Also, I want to mention that up until this point, he hasn't straight up told me that this has anything to do with me. But today while we were texting, he started telling me about his you. He said his you had become his obsession, and he didn't know if he was delusional of it or if it was mutual. After he went into detail about why he's been so obsessed with his he's you. It became pretty undeniable that I'm the one that he's referring to, though neither of us has called it out. At the end of the conversation, he asked what I would do if I were him, and I told him to do some deep reflecting about what he wants in life, because carrying on like this isn't fair to him or especially his wife, and that he needs to be proactive about seeking professional help, and then that was where he cut the conversation. This confession has obviously put me in a very difficult situation. I'm trying to figure out the best way to approach it. He's my friend, so I also want to be supportive without encouraging his delusions, but I really don't know where to go from here. It's obvious that he needs professional help, but he's not currently ready to seek therapy, but I'll continue to suggest it. But where does that leave me and my best friend? I feel like my brain hasn't processed any of this yet. I feel kind of numb and void of feelings. How would she feel if she found out? How do I tell her your husband has become obsessed with me? Should I even tell her? Should I make him tell her? My hope is that he'll see a professional and they'll help him deal with the situation, how they best see fit. But in the meantime, literally, what the hell? Edit. So it's been a couple of days now, and after speaking to my parents, husband, and therapist about this, it finally has sunk in. When I initially wrote this post, I was in shock and denial, and I was trying every way to rationalize this in a way that would ultimately hurt everybody less. Since then, I've realized that my best friend and I have both fallen victim to his manipulation and emotional mind games. I should have trusted my gut every time it told me something was off, but he knew that I would empathize with him, but he played his cards in a way that would have me questioning my own reality. A friend of mine told me intentions don't always matter, and that sometimes we need to take people's actions for what they are. At the end of the day, regardless if I'm struggling to accept if this was all played out intentionally with malice, or if it's something that he let get out of hand, it wasn't my responsibility to keep his feelings in check for him. He should have sought out professional help long ago, like I've always suggested to him, and he should have done everything he could to squash the feelings he had towards me rather than to nurture them with fantasies about us being together someday and letting it get to the point of becoming a dangerous obsession. My therapist is now seriously concerned for mine and my best friend's safety. Although it's become pretty clear to us that this delusional disorder is a hoax, that doesn't take away from the fact that he's taken this obsession to a dangerous level, and that he does still seem to be wrapped up in this illusion that somehow we can be together and make it work with his wife. I have sent him a long message telling him I'm no longer going to be a pawn in his fantasies, and that he needs to come clean to his wife about everything he's told me and whatever else that I may not know about, and I've let her know that he has something to say to her, and that I'll be here for whatever she may need going forward, in whichever way makes her most comfortable. For everybody who was kind and understanding of this sensitive situation, I thank you greatly for your grace and understanding towards me while I process this crap show, and to everybody who was quick to say that it was obvious and to even blame me or say that I'm deserving of losing my friend, I want to say that of course it's obvious to everybody reading this when everything has been laid out for you, but don't be so dense as to forget that this is a real life situation that has taken place in the span of many years with real human beings and complex lives and deep feelings involved. There's years of context you know nothing about. Blaming me for not seeing it is blaming a victim of emotional manipulation for not realizing they were being toyed with. I'm grateful that I have the emotional intelligence and confidence to know that his actions are not a reflection on me as a person or as a friend, and to not let those comments get in my head. I hope those of you can hopefully learn from this and use this as a reminder that you're just bystanders on the internet and you don't have all the facts, and your comments can have big impacts on real people going through real situations. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Thank you for taking the time to read this. Wow, okay. So I'm assuming that the friend knows about this now because they need to know ASAP. And yeah, right, your friend has a rotomania or whatever they said. There's no way. Yeah, the top comment, I don't buy it. I think he's a regular dude trying to sleep with his wife's bestie. You need to tell your friend what he's doing. If his alleged psych disorder is real, he needs to be under medical supervision in intense therapy, regular consultations with a psychiatrist. If it's real, both of you and your friend are in danger. If he decides his wife is in the way of getting his true love, he might dispose of her, right? Yeah, okay, don't say that. You owe it to her to tell her who she's married to. Yeah, and like the comment under that says, oh, no way, he has a rare disorder in which he fell in love with his wife's best friend. It's not his fault. And yeah, there are so many comments saying that that disorder is so rare, and apparently it's super hard to diagnose. There's a comment that says, this man just has a crush on you and wants to sleep with you. Did he self-diagnose himself with a rotomania? Because this ain't it. And OP said, yeah, he did. And this comment, he googled, why am I constantly fantasizing about getting with a woman that I'm not dating? And a rotomania popped up. You should tell your friend and cut off all contact with him, lock down your social media and block him on everything. And OP said, should I tell her this or should a professional? You say it like I'm supposed to just have a casual conversation with her. And somebody said, yeah, because that's exactly what you should do. She's your best friend and her husband was outwardly being inappropriate with you. Tell her everything that he told you and allow her to deal with her relationship how she sees fit. Yeah, and the friend should definitely know about it by now. Because what did OP say in that edit? Oh yeah, this bit. I told him that he needs to come clean to his wife about everything that he's told me, and I've let her know that he has something to say to her, and that I'll be here for whatever she may need going forward. Right, okay, so the friend should know now, so that's good. But yeah, you need to stay away from him, OP. Oh my god, what a way to start the episode. Let's move on. The next one is on the Am I Wrong subreddit. Am I Wrong wrong for not giving my sister my baby? I am aware how insane that title is, but hear me out. It's me, female 28, my husband Lucas, 39, and my younger half-sister, dad's side Leah, 24. My husband and I met through work 5 years ago, but didn't date right away. We tied the knot by eloping 2 years ago, and as I predicted, Leah would cause wedding drama. Leah herself had a failed engagement 1 year ago. We gave her our condolences, but she said if I really cared, I'd stop wearing my engagement ring around her and flaunting it. I obviously didn't take it off. It's a vintage ring that's an heirloom in Lucas's family. I'm now 5 months pregnant with a baby girl. She wasn't planned, but she's a very welcome surprise. Lucas is so excited to be a girl dad, it's so funny. Ever since I announced my pregnancy, it wasn't a fancy thing just over dinner. Leah has been very snippy and standoffish with me. First, it didn't really affect me. We're not close. But then I noticed when we go and visit my dad or we were at family gatherings, she's super touchy to Lucas. She giggles at every joke that he makes. It doesn't really bother me. I'm secure in my marriage, and if anything, it makes her look silly. We had a blended family event with both mum and dad's side, and we were discussing baby names, and Leah freaked out, screeching at me that she's the one who deserves a husband and a baby, not me. I never wanted a marriage or kids. I was focused on getting a career, and then stormed off. Later on, my dad and his wife said that she shouldn't have shouted, but that I was flaunting my marriage and pregnancy when I know that she had a failed engagement and had always wanted a baby. I thought that was it, but yesterday the three of them asked to talk, and they came over to our place and they legitimately asked if I would give Leah my baby. Like, they weren't joking, they said it seriously. They said that she deserved it more than me, as she wouldn't neglect being a mother for a career. Oh, how dare they? Lucas was stunned, but then promptly got them out of our house. I heard Leah clinging to his arm, telling him that she could be a good stay-at-home mum. Oh God, what? My mum and her side of the family are furious. Leah's mum said it was malicious of me to tell my mum's family. Really upset Leah when we eloped, so I had to make it up to her, and that my mum doesn't get a say. What the actual hell? Why do you have to make it up to Leah? Edit, just to address some things. Yeah, unfortunately, this is real, and it does happen often. Look up the case of Taylor Parker. This whole thing is really stressful. I'm immune compromised, so I'm really feeling run down, and I have to be careful. Lucas is actually Swedish, so that is an option to those of you who have suggested moving. Okay, what did we just read? Yeah, the top comment, your sister and her mother are certifiably insane. You need to get them out of your life because they might decide to take your baby if you stay in contact. Yeah, and also this comment. This is a level of derangement where I think it can't possibly be true. If it is, cut them all out forever and get a restraining order because she's psychotic and dangerous. Don't let them anywhere near your child, nor any child that you do have. Yeah, what the hell is Leah going on about? And why is the rest of the family feeding into it too? That's what I don't understand. Like what, you're married and you have a child and you're somehow flaunting it and she feels like you shouldn't wear your engagement ring? Hell no, OP. You don't have to do bloody anything. Like, not only is that super wild of them to even ask, but they actually feel entitled to your baby because they deserve your baby. Yeah, like this comment says, go no contact with stepmom and Leah. Make it clear that they're not welcome around you or your baby or hubby. Who knows, they might try to steal your baby. She sure as hell is trying to steal your husband. Yeah, you've got to get away from them ASAP, OP. Wow, it's been an unbelievable episode today. The next one is called Am I the A-hole for not putting my mother-in-law's maiden name in my child's name? My fiance, 24 male and I, 24 female, are expecting our first child in December. We don't know the gender yet, so we're picking names for boy and girl. We've fallen in love with names already. My fiance has his father's last name, and that name is on his birth certificate, while his mother has a completely different last name. She's been hell-bent on getting us to make the last name of our child her maiden name, which neither of us have, so in my head it just doesn't make any sense. She's been very manipulative in the past with various things, to the point where we've given in to her just to get her to leave us alone. This time around, she proceeded to guilt trip us on why we won't give the child her last name. She proceeded to use the I raised you, he didn't card, and even said that she was going to go to the court to change my fiance's last name, which I found hilarious seeing that he's a grown adult. Now, mind you, my mother-in-law has 4 sons, 2 of which have her maiden name as their last name, and all 4 children are straight and have potential to bear children of their own in the future. I'm trying to convince my fiance to not give in to even hyphenating her last name and keeping it just his current last name to help set early boundaries on raising this child, but mother-in-law has it so deep in his mind that he has to please her and that she's entitled to make these decisions because she raised him. Not to mention that she demanded to be at my gender ultrasound instead of waiting for the reveal that we had planned at our baby shower. So I'm curious if I'm the a-hole because I want a child to have his or her father's last name and not their grandmother's. Update, my fiance and I have talked and we have agreed to give the baby his last name, as I will be marrying him and taking the last name anyway. Boundaries will be heavily set with mother-in-law and appointments will be kept private between the two of us. I thank all of you who've validated my feelings and who've given me advice, as it has helped to make us realise and make him realise that this is all a creepy power control thing on her end. We only want the best for our baby and we need to lay the law now or it'll never happen. Oh yeah, definitely OP, and you're doing the right thing. Like, these boundaries need to be set ASAP. You need to put your foot down. Like, hey, don't be telling us what to do. You're not entitled to anything. Stop acting like you are entitled to stuff because you're not. And you're not going to have a say in how we raise our child. Yeah, that's so wild, and you're definitely doing the right thing, OP. And like you said, you need to lay down the law now so it doesn't get worse in the future, which it probably would. Yeah, that's so frustrating. Okay, the last one for today is on the entitled parent subreddit. She's under 10, so she eats for free. I own a small restaurant, classic American foods, decent prices, kid-friendly. One of our policies is that kids 10 and under can get anything off the kids menu for free. The stuff on the kids menu is cheap. Like a bowl of mac and cheese with some chicken nuggets isn't going to break my bank on food cost. A hot dog and some fries aren't going to bankrupt me. Last night, I was sitting in the office watching YouTube videos when I noticed a family that I know personally. Their daughter, 12 female, is friends with my granddaughter, 13 female. When I see people I know, I have a tendency to sort of take over the table. The server does still get the tip, but I give the table a lot of extra attention. So I stop over and I say hi, and I check their ticket in the computer out of curiosity. The dad got our 22-ounce porterhouse with a fully dressed potato, butter, cheese, sour cream, bacon, chili, ranch dressing, and also crispy fried onions. The mum got our fried catfish and hush puppies. The daughter got our pulled pork cheeseburger with onion rings. Note that the daughter ordered off the main menu, not the kids menu. Anyway, they spend about 40 minutes eating, drinking, and generally being merry. Both myself and the server are keeping an eye on their drinks, making sure they're having a good experience. I even gave them 5 free credits on the jukebox just to be nice. I head back to the office to take a phone call, and while I'm back there, I notice a commotion on the cameras at that very same table. Before I can make it into the dining room, the server is in the kitchen heading towards my office. Apparently there was a mistake with their tab, and their daughter's meal should have been free. The server tried to explain that that only applies to items on the kids menu, and the girl had ordered off the main menu. That explanation fell on deaf ears, so I head out to solve the problem. I explained that not only did the girl order off the main menu, but I also know for a fact that their daughter is not 10 or under, since my granddaughter had been to her 12th birthday party back in March. The mum tried to argue, but the dad put his hand up, apologizing for his wife's behavior, and passed me his card to pay. Before they even left my establishment, the mum already left a nasty and completely false Google review, stating that we lie about our policies and kids don't really get free meals. Wow, the audacity! Your daughter isn't 10 or under. What are you talking about? And you didn't even order from the kids menu. Oh, that's so infuriating. Like you think the restaurant is the one that's in the wrong? Get out of here. Yeah, this comment, the mum's not only entitled, she's a thief. Am I the a-hole for not postponing our wedding to accommodate my sister-in-law? My fiance, male 28, and I, female 28, are set to be married in December. We got engaged on the 23rd of June and decided on the wedding date a year and a half in advance for everybody's convenience. We've been dating for 10 years and I've been saving up for the wedding for 5 years. I was doing this so I could afford an extravagant wedding in a palace in India, and we finally made those arrangements. My husband's sister has always been a golden child. She always got what she asked for, as opposed to my husband, who they treat like a cash cow. Every time his mother needs anything expensive, he's the first call that she makes. I try not to get in between them, but she's never shown any interest in his life. Coming up to the wedding, we sent out save the dates in December of last year so people could plan their holidays and plans way in advance. My sister-in-law got married 3 years back. It was a nice wedding, but not as fancy as ours. When she knew about the plan, she started finding problems in everything, to the point where my husband asked her to stop interfering. Last week, we got a call from her in all excitement to tell us that she was pregnant and expecting a child in December. Both of us were shocked but happy for her, and we congratulated her. She then proceeded saying, "So you can just come to SF to get married at the city hall? I would need help with the baby." I was so baffled, and I told her the wedding is still on, and her having a child does not change our wedding plans. She threw a fit when I said that and then hung up. Later that day, his mum called and told us to postpone the wedding 6 months so that his sister could attend it, and that if we don't, then she wouldn't attend it either, and that her daughter's pregnancy is a bigger event than our quote-unquote stupid marriage. My husband was upset and chose not to respond, but I lost my crap. I told her that if my sister-in-law prioritized her pregnancy over our marriage, which she knew about for about a year and a half, we're not obligated to prioritize her pregnancy over our happiness. My husband is speechless and we don't know what to do. Would I be the a-hole for not postponing the wedding? No, I don't think so, OP. I feel like you're doing the right thing, and like you said, you're prioritizing your happiness. Yeah, this comment, tell her that you respect that she prioritizes her daughter like that. Family is important, so from now on, you and your fiance will prioritize your new family as well, and this will mean that he cannot financially contribute to her or her family anymore, and expect requests for financial support for the new baby. Congratulations on your wedding. Make it your day, not the a-hole, OP. Yeah, with how they're acting, OP, it'd be good to not have them there. Like, oh no, you're not gonna attend the wedding? What a shame. Yeah, this comment, not the a-hole, you're better off without them. His mum called and told us to postpone the wedding 6 months so his sister could attend it, and if we don't, then she wouldn't attend either, and that her daughter's pregnancy is a bigger event than our stupid marriage. Yeah, you're much better off. Yeah, I forgot that they said that the marriage was stupid. Oh, yeah, you don't need him, OP. You're so not the a-hole. Wow, okay, the next one is called Am I the a-hole? My boyfriend wants me to sleep on the floor. God. Do we even need to read this? My boyfriend, male 35, works overnight and every morning between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. When he's off, I, female 24, am asked to leave the room so he can receive a good rest. Am I selfish for not wanting to leave the bedroom when he comes in from work? He says that I'm being selfish whenever I don't leave the room. And what? This is between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. in the morning? How the hell are you going to be in the wrong, OP? I can already tell you're not the a-hole. He says me sleeping beside him makes the room extremely hot and that my movements wake him up. But for me, sleeping out in the living room for another few hours is so uncomfortable and I hate it. It's way brighter than our room as our bedroom has blackout curtains. The couch isn't even big enough to lay on. It's technically a love seat. And the floor is way too hard on my body. We do own an air mattress that I could sleep on, but we also have a cat that would pop that in an instant. We also talked about buying a couch, but he's not willing to contribute to purchasing a couch, quote unquote, because I'm the one who wants it. Oh, get out of here, dude. Oh, the audacity. So what do I do in this situation? I feel it's unfair that I constantly have to sacrifice only 5 to 6 hours of sleep so that he can have a peaceful 8 hours. Am I wrong in this situation? And if I am, how should I continue to go about it? Edit. Okay, I wanted to clear some stuff up as I had wrote this post yesterday morning. Okay, so number 1, I've only been asked to sleep out of the room for the past 2 nights. 2, he's typically the one to leave the room if he's uncomfortable. 3, he's been on night shift for the past 2 weeks. 4, he pays 70% of the rent including all the other bills and both our car insurance. I only pay a small amount for rent. 5, it's a new job that he's only been working at for about 3 months. We've been dating for 2.5 years and we met through mutual friends. 7, I moved into his apartment about 5 months ago. We talked about him compromising and going half on a couch, which is still a bit in the air as he's made some points of me practically not paying anything every month. He says I make enough money and I don't pay any bills and I should be able to pay for a comfortable couch, and that he doesn't have the funds to buy a couch right now as he's salaried and only gets paid once a month, that he can work the financial side of the couch once he's able to. He's also mentioned that he's working on finding another job that pays the same or just as much that isn't a night shift. As far as our sleep arrangements and our schedule, we are working on it. And 2, for all the comments on this post, thank you. The breakup and the age gap comments were expected, but thank you to all the people who commented real genuine answers in helping finding a solution to my situation. Right, okay, so that update left a lot out. Like there was a lot in that edit that definitely should have been in the post, but yeah, I still don't feel like you're the a-hole, OP. Like the audacity to expect you to get up and get out of bed between 4 and 6 in the morning. Yeah, like this comment says, not the a-hole. If he wants a good rest, it sounds like he needs to get himself his own bed, or better still, his own place to live. Edit, I just saw the edits. If it's his apartment, then she should move out. The issue is that you don't rock up at 4 in the morning to tell somebody to get the hell out of bed. If they're supposed to be your partner, that's not acceptable. I don't give a damn whose apartment it is. She can move or he can move, whatever. His behavior is not okay. Yeah, and the audacity of him to say that OP was being selfish because OP didn't get out of bed. Like, oh, sorry for not getting up and sleeping on the couch at 4 in the morning. Yeah, no, you're not the a-hole, OP. The next one is called Am I the a-hole for leaving everything to my biological children and nothing to my stepchildren? I, 51 female, have been battling cancer since I was 28. It's come back 3 different times and now I'm at a point in my life where I'm comfortably living with cancer. I have 2 daughters in their 20s that have children, one being widowed. I remarried 2 years ago to a man with 4 children, one still living at home with us. He's 19. It's been weighing heavy on my mind to make sure that everything's in order in case of the worst, and I have told my husband that I plan to leave everything to my children and grandchildren. I wanted to make sure that they were set. He got upset and said that was horrible because I married a man knowing that he had children, that what I was doing was horrible and it would make them feel unloved. I love my stepchildren like my own, but one of my daughters is a 29-year-old widow that has 3 young children. My husband's an oral surgeon and he makes great money, and what he chooses to do with his money after he passes is up to him. He's been very upset by this and he hasn't been talking to me, and he even told his eldest daughter, who's had many tragedies in her life, and she brought it up when she stopped by the house and said that she was also upset by this. I don't have much to offer, not like my husband, but I don't see the big deal. I don't want their feelings hurt. My husband says it's the principle because I married a man with children. Am I the a-hole? Oh, that's so sad. I'm sorry, OP. But yeah, no way. You're definitely not the a-hole. I'm definitely questioning the intentions of the husband though. Like, was that his plan to take your money? Yeah, the top comment, he may be a high earner as an oral surgeon, but I wouldn't be surprised if he married you for money. Of your 51 years of life, this man hasn't been in 49 of those. It sounds like with exception of the 19-year-old, all his other 3 children are adults. Why on earth would they expect to be a part of the will of a woman they only met 2 years ago when they were already grown-ups? I believe you need to revisit this relationship. As Maya Angelou said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time, not the a-hole and get well. Yeah, that's 100% right. You remarried 2 years ago and they already feel entitled to your money? No bloody way, OP. Imagine feeling like you can get upset about that. The audacity. The comment under that one too, major not the a-hole. There's some entitlement here that would scare the hell out of me from a partner that you've been married to for 2 years. How long had you been together prior to marriage? If it's not a long time, I'd genuinely be concerned. If I were marrying late in life with adult or almost adult children, I'd also have assumed we were each responsible for our own kids. I think the general population would feel the same, especially when it sounds like your partner has more than you to leave behind. Was he planning on splitting his estate among his biological and stepkids, like he expects of you? I don't know how else to say it, but take care of your inheritance plan and will writing soon. Also, do you have life insurance? Who's the beneficiary? If you didn't list one, depending on your state, it may automatically be your spouse. I'd be making sure that's going to your kids equally as well. And OP said, thank you for the tips. I've already been researching recently. We were together for 1.5 years before marriage, but we had been in the same support group for many years, so we do know each other and would get coffee sometimes or lunch. Yeah, it doesn't say anywhere that he's going to share his money. I'm assuming he wouldn't be willing to. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not liking the partner. It's super gross behavior and manipulative too. The comment under that one says, you've been married for 2 years and he wants you to leave money to his kids, his adult kids. Lol. Is he planning on leaving money to your kids? I'm willing to bet that he's not. And I guarantee you, if you pass before him, your kids won't see a dime. He's an oral surgeon. He makes good coin. He can take care of his own adult kids if he wants to. Yeah, and also he called OP horrible. Like, that's a giant a-hole sort of move. What are you doing, dude? OP isn't horrible because she wants to give money to her own kids. And if that's how he feels, that really shows where his head's at. Yeah, this comment sums it up. It takes a special kind of a-hole to fight with your cancer-battling wife of 2 years over who takes what after she dies. OP, not only are you not the a-hole, but I'd also think really hard about what you're really getting out of this marriage. Yeah, and to call OP horrible, and for the eldest daughter to also bring it up with OP, I wouldn't give them a cent if I were you, OP. The next one is called, am I the a-hole for using my husband's salary to make a point to his family after he told me I should stand up for myself instead of expecting him to do it for me? My husband and I are doing okay financially. We make enough to not worry about rent and necessities. We are saving a decent amount and we have scope for growth in our careers. I make a little more than 1/3 of our combined income. We're both in our late 30s and we have 2 6-year-old boys. I've never liked my husband's family, most of them anyway, because they have a lot of old-fashioned opinions and they don't really approve of me. We don't have a lot of contact, so it's okay though. My husband's cousin's wedding is this week and they're getting married in our city, so he offered for his parents and aunt and uncle to stay with us. The bride and the groom are renting a place. It's a bit of a squeeze, but it's working. They've been here for 2 days now, and on the very first day, I heard them having a whole discussion on how it's so sad that our children won't get to have a proper childhood with a mum at home, like my husband and his cousin got. Oh, the audacity. While they were in the living room and I was in the kitchen, and they knew that I could hear. Oh, no wonder you don't like them, OP. They sound awful. I was stewing, but I don't really like confrontation, so I didn't say anything. Later, I asked my husband if he could please tell them to shut up with the snide comments about me. He said it's only their opinion and it's not really hurting me. Yeah, it is, dude. If I'm bothered, I should learn to stick up for myself, and that he can't always do it for me. This sort of struck a nerve because it is true that I usually ask him to do small stuff, like telling the drive-thru person if our order's wrong, because it just makes me feel weird and guilty, but somehow it feels more like his responsibility because it's his family. Yeah, he should definitely say something, OP. Anyway, so today my father-in-law made one more pointed comment during dinner, and I said, your son makes so-and-so money, we live in a big city and rent is so-and-so, we literally cannot live on his salary, so I don't know why you think I should be at home all day. Hell yeah, OP, good on you for saying that. They were pretty quiet after that. Now my husband is really angry with me because I put him down in front of his family who are all richer than us, and they'll look down on him. Am I the a-hole? No, definitely not. And they're staying with you guys. They're under your roof and they're saying this sort of crap. I hope they're embarrassed. How dare they say that sort of stuff to you, OP? Surely your husband can understand why you said something. He even told you that you should stick up for yourself, and you did. By the way, good job, OP. That was a really good thing to say. But yeah, they sound absolutely awful. Your husband and his family are definitely in the wrong, OP. The top comment says definitely not the a-hole. Your husband and your in-laws, however, common sense dictates that if your family has a problem with your spouse, you have their back. Still, I think you handled things perfect given the fact that your husband is a textbook a-hole and doesn't defend you when he should. He doesn't get to be mad at you for the way you chose to do what he said. You just took his advice. Also, is he a teenager? Why is he so pressed about his family knowing such trivial things about your rent and general income? If he didn't want you to say those things, he should have had your back, I guess. Yeah, I feel so sorry for you, OP. Having insufferable people in your own house, that can't be good. I can't believe what the in-laws said. They should be ashamed of themselves. The comment under that says, not the a-hole, but your husband and his family sure are. He didn't want to handle it and seemed perfectly content for them to drag you in your own home and told you to deal with it or handle it yourself. He's currently experiencing F around and find out. He deserves to feel uncomfortable around his family, as he's been okay with you feeling uncomfortable around them for years. And as far as the stay-at-home mum thing, even if it were affordable for most people, which isn't the case, it's not the best choice for everybody. I'm a stay-at-home mum and my sister isn't. Both of us have great kids. Some people are better mums because they work, and there's nothing wrong with that. And most people have to either work or sacrifice a lot, like my family has, in order to make that work. If hubby didn't want them to know the truth, then he should have shut them down. And if they have that much money, they can find a hotel instead of leeching off you guys and insulting you in your own home. Apparently money doesn't buy class in this instance. Coming into your own house and insulting you. And the husband isn't good either. Yeah, this comment sums it up well. Not the a-hole. Your husband wants you to stand up for yourself, and you did. You're not staying at home in part because their son does not earn enough for you to stay at home. And it's really telling that your husband didn't mind when you were getting put down, but is now angry because his family is going to look down on him. Like, I wonder how he justifies the double standard. Yeah, they all kinda suck, OP. The next one is called, am I the a-hole for telling my sister that I won't change my hair color for her wedding? My younger sister, 28 female, is getting married. We just went out of town to watch her wedding dress shop. She did find the dress and say yes. We went out for drinks after to celebrate, and the conversation of my 33 female, light lilac purple hair came up. I get a lot of compliments when I'm out, and I think she was already a little irritated that every wedding place loved my hair. Anyway, she said, I plan on asking you to be my bridesmaid in my wedding, but you can't have purple hair. You'll need to dye it brown. My response was that I worked really hard to achieve this color, and it's been my dream hair color for a very long time, and that I'm not going to dye it for one day, that it won't hurt my feelings to not stand up there with her million friends, especially considering that I'm making her wedding cake, and I was already planning on finishing the decorations the day of her wedding. I told her I'd have to scramble to finish her cake and get in for hair and makeup, and that I'm happy just sitting it out and making sure that her cake is perfect. She snapped back and said, you're my sister and I want you up there. It won't hurt you to dye your hair brown for a day. I love your hair, but it's my day and I want all the attention on me, not your hair. I simply responded by saying, I still stand by my decision to sit this one out. And she just said, well, we have a year to discuss it. There's absolutely nothing to discuss. I'm not dyeing my hair brown for a wedding. Therefore, I simply won't be in my sister's wedding. Am I the a-hole for not letting everybody's opinions make me change my hair for her big day? Edit to add, during our conversation, I did make a joke about wearing a wig, and she didn't find that funny, nor seemed keen on my solution. I did also mention slicking my hair back into a low pretty bun, so facing frontwards you wouldn't really see much of my hair. That also wasn't a good solution. I did also tell her that I would consider lightening my hair to like a silver platinum, and that way I could easily have it changed back to lilac. I know it's an issue because my mum was defending her, stating that it's just hair and I can change it back from brown. Not the case, obviously. I'm dreading this conversation coming up again. I am a baker, side gig, and I happily offered to make their cake. It's something I enjoy doing, and it's always been something that we talked about, me making her cake. However, it's a very extravagant 4-tier cake that is going to be very floured up. In my mind, I assumed I wouldn't be asked to be a part of her wedding party, since I told her the morning of her wedding I'll stack the tiers and get the flowers placed how she wants, and I'd be in my own little world getting that perfectly together. Never in a million years did I think there'd be an issue with my hair being in the wedding and getting the cake together all at once. Yeah, no, definitely don't dye your hair, OP. Like, come on, some people are gonna think that your hair looks nice. Oh no! Like, how insecure is your sister? The top comment says, not the a-hole, your sister is much too full of herself. She's fine to have that as a requirement of a bridesmaid, but you're also completely entitled to reject it. Her trying to bully and manipulate you is big a-hole energy. Side question, because I don't know too much about it, but why is the requirement always to dye their hair? Isn't a wig a much less damaging solution? You still don't need to do that. I've just seen multiple bridezillas demanding people dye their hair, and it never made sense to me. Yeah, and the comment under that one too. Not the a-hole. I don't understand the narcissistic attitude that often plagues even the most humble of women on their wedding day. Heaven forbid somebody thinks a bridesmaid's hair is pretty. Why does this happen? Is it insecurity? Yeah, I don't know, but you're definitely not the a-hole, OP. My parents assume that they're gonna move in with me when they're old. I was on the phone with them this morning because they called after I texted them an update on my husband and I's house hunting adventure. I'm currently pregnant with baby number 3 and I live safely 15-ish hours away from these people who birthed and raised me, while simultaneously messed me up mentally and emotionally. Why I stay in contact with them nowadays is becoming more and more of a mystery to me, but here we are. Well, while looking at one of these houses I was describing online, my dad asked where would they stay in the future. Stupidly thinking, as a guest, I mentioned one of the extra rooms could be a multi-purpose room. If you have an air mattress and you're coming for a visit, there you go. This house has 4 bedrooms, 5 if you count one of the rooms on the main floor. He then asked about permanently, further in the future. I said, permanently? He said, when I retire or sometime after that. You know, stairs won't be your mum and I's friends around then. You think you'll be living with us? Entitled Dad, of course. Me, no. Entitled Dad, we can help with the kids. Me, no. My mum, remember we always talked about this when you were younger? Me, no. Dad, what, are you going to put us into a home? Me, you'll make friends? Dad, well, that's not nice of you. Me, I never said I was. And the discussion ended after that. Yeah, right, that's so strange because you obviously must have been so young that, you know, you don't remember that. So if you were like a kid and they said, oh, you'll let us live with you when you're older, won't you? And you said yes when you were younger, and then what, never talked to you about it again? Why would they expect that you were being serious? Yeah, like the top comment says, we always talked about this when you were younger. Yeah, because a child between 3 to 14 is really going to understand the concept of a nursing home and sending your parents away. Good job on telling them no. And OP said, my mum has always brought up living with me when she's old, and I always said nope, even when I thought she was joking. I did entertain the idea at one point, if we lived in a big enough lot, they could have a trailer on it. Never in the same house, but I always kind of knew that wouldn't be a real possibility. It very nearly almost happened a year ago, but then my dad decided that God has called him to stay in our home state in the most haughty of voices. Okay, thank you, Jesus, lol. Yeah, that doesn't even make any sense. Like, why would they actually think that that was going to happen? Yeah, that's really confusing and definitely entitled. And yeah, good on you for saying no, OP. The next one is also on entitled parents, and it's called My Entitled Sister and Brother-in-Law Wanted Me to Sacrifice My Youth for My Nephews. This happened in my early 20s when I was still a college student. I stayed at my sister and brother-in-law's house for a while. They have 3 kids. Back then, their eldest 2 were under 3. I did a fair bit with them, played toys with them, watched shows and read to them. But I was also a typical college kid who occasionally wanted to party and go out with friends. My sister and my brother-in-law hated this and they would shame me. They wanted me to go to college and come back home as soon as my classes finished. I wasn't even near the most wild college kid. It might be once a fortnight that I'd go to a party. Every time I would tell them that I was going to be out, it was, but what about your family? You need to be closer to your family. Your friends won't be forever. You should be spending time with your nephews. I was treated like some deadbeat parent for wanting to enjoy my youth. Yeah, that's not good, OP. Getting parentified by your sister and your brother-in-law. Yeah, that's awful, OP. Like, hey, I'm a college kid. I want to have fun. I'm not your parent. Come on. But yeah, you're right, OP. They were only upset because they weren't getting what they wanted. The top comment is so good. My aunt used this one on me once trying to get me to watch her kids yet again. My reply, shut her up. Well, for a while anyway. I am thinking of the family that I'd like to start, but I can't go on dates or meet people if I'm always at your house watching your kids. Yeah, 1,000,000%. That's such a good response. I am thinking about my family, the one I'm gonna have in the future. Now I'm gonna leave and you can't stop me. Yeah, that's so frustrating. Okay, we're heading over to Am I the A-hole? Am I the A-hole for taking away my brother's +1 and inviting his girlfriend myself? I kinda know that I'm the A-hole, but I need to know how bad it was. My brother's 29 and has been with Leah for about 2 years. We all like her. She's super nice. I'm getting married next April and sent an invite to my brother's apartment. We decided to send invites to households and not individuals. For example, our aunt received an invite for her family and not for each individual. Last Thursday, we met at my parents' place. It was just the core family because of some tax reasons. Lol. While there, I asked my brother about Leah's dietary restrictions. I know that she is vegetarian for health reasons and that she can't have certain raw vegetables. He said that she wasn't going to come and that he was taking his girl best friend Amanda instead. Why, dude? Now, their relationship is weird AF. Amanda has always been stringing my brother along, in my opinion. He always denies having feelings for her, but let's be real here. Yeah, why are you taking your girl best friend and not your partner? Amanda would date other guys and blow off my brother, and then when things were on the decline with her partners, she would be attached to him again. Her last boyfriend broke up with her right around the time that my brother, his then ex-girlfriend, and Amanda and her ex were supposed to travel to Spain. What did my idiot brother do? Go with Amanda alone because Amanda was uncomfortable with his ex-girlfriend. Obviously, he acted blindsided when his girlfriend broke up with him. I didn't even say anything anymore because it's all so weird. So when he said that, I asked if Leah already had other plans, but my brother said that Amanda had asked if she could come because it would be an opportunity to finally see the old gang. We were in the same friend group in high school. I told him that I would have invited Amanda if I wanted her there. Amanda is mean and cold. She always makes disparaging comments about other girls. At every event around 1 hour in, she'll make some sort of scene that either has her running away crying or sitting mad at a table telling everybody to leave her alone and then making a cryptic comment about something hurting her. I told my brother I was revoking his +1 and Amanda was not coming to our wedding. He accused me of being misogynistic and bigoted because I don't understand opposite sex friendships, which is BS. My husband has a female childhood best friend who's his best woman. I love her too and she's been amazing and she respects respects boundaries. She always includes me and made a huge effort when I started dating my fiance to integrate me into the friend group. Anyway, I said my decision was final. He could take it or leave it. But I'd be inviting Leah myself because I like her. He screamed at me and told me to keep out of his business. Bro, you're talking about bringing somebody to OP's wedding? That's definitely their business. I said to get rid of his weird bloody feelings for Amanda. He's mad at me. My dad said none of our deal. My mum is furious with my brother. So am I the a-hole? No, I don't think so. Edit to answer some questions. The invite was addressed to the Smiths, funnily enough. Leah had the same last name as us. Granted, we have one of the most common last names. Yes, they live together. The tax thing is nothing huge. My parents have a small business but are really bad at keeping track of all their receipts. So every month we go and help them. We digitalize the receipts and put them in a bookkeeping software for the accountant. Amanda is in the comments. Say hi. Yeah, no, you're definitely not the a-hole, OP. And of course it's your business. They're talking about who's going to go to your wedding. If you don't want Amanda at your wedding, then that's final. Yeah, the top comment, not the a-hole. I think the bottom line is if you don't want Amanda at your wedding because she causes a scene and brings a negative energy, I think you're well within your right to say that she's not allowed at your wedding. You can invite Leah yourself, but by the sounds of your brother's behavior, who knows if they'll even still be together by then? Even if they are, I wouldn't count on her sticking around if he keeps prioritizing Amanda over her. Yeah, and how wacky's that? Imagine doing that. Yeah, let's move on. The next one is also on Am I the A-hole? Am I the A-hole for not inviting somebody for dinner because she made a big deal about how she doesn't eat at the homes of people who have cats? Wow, okay. A while back I posted a picture on my IG stories of my cat sitting next to my counter as I was cooking, on his own stool. He was watching. Again, he was next to my counter, not anywhere near the food. He doesn't go on the counters, he doesn't go near the food. My friend Rose reposted it with her own caption, a puke face emoji, and you can't eat everybody house. Okay, so that's already so weird. Why would they do that? I ignored it and I went about my business. She's very much the type of person who just regurgitates whatever popular phrases that she says on social media. Pineapple on pizza? You're a monster. Raisins in cookies are why I have trust issues. I don't trust people who don't like dogs. Hot girl walks, hot girl books, Delulu. I'm gonna hold your hand while I tell you this. Is the so-and-so in the room with us right now, etc. She has other traits that make up for it, but truthfully, I do tend to avoid one-on-one time with her. About a month ago, I hosted a small get-together to show off some Le Creuset cookware I obtained. Getting older is weird. I had a whole little shindig with home-prepared food, lots of fun time between pals. I did not invite Rose. She found out after folks posted on their IG stories and confronted me over it, saying that I was giving high school mean girl vibes. I told her that she's made it clear that she doesn't eat at the homes of people who have cats, so why would I have invited her to a dinner party? She got defensive and said that she could have just come and not eaten anything. I said that in the future maybe she should be more careful about what she says, because to me it was very clear. Rose has continued to tell people that I'm giving high school mean girl to nurse pipeline, I'm an accountant, and all that. Am I really the a-hole for not inviting her? Why would she have wanted to come? No, you're not the a-hole. What? What did we just read? You get to choose who you invite to your house, OP. Yeah, no, you're for sure not the a-hole, OP. There's no obligation on your end. Yeah, like this comment says, I'm gonna hold your hand when I tell you this. You're not entitled to my time, my cooking, or entry to my house, Rose. Okay? It's giving Delulu vibes. She should understand that. Yeah, OP, please say that. And also, was it a spelling mistake, or did they actually say you can't eat everybody house? Because that doesn't make sense, does it? You can't eat everybody house? Yeah, how frustrating. And also kind of insufferable too. Like, yeah, you're definitely Delulu if you feel like you're entitled to go into somebody's house. Yeah, you had no obligation to invite them, OP. And it doesn't sound like you like them anyway. So why would you invite them over? Imagine reposting a photo of somebody's cat in their house and then putting like a vomit emoji on it. Like, what are you doing? Yeah, this comment, haha, totally not the a-hole. You're completely within your rights to not invite somebody into your home who's made it clear that she has a problem with how you keep your house. Yeah. And also the fact that like acting like this is kind of insufferable. And it sounds like the only person who's giving like mean girl high school vibes is them. So yeah, I definitely don't feel like you're the a-hole, OP. I feel like that one's pretty simple. Wow, okay, the next one that we're going to read is on the Am I the Devil subreddit. Well, like it's been put onto Am I the Devil. Am I the jerk for calling a pregnant woman ugly? Okay. I'm nervous. This was a few years ago. I, 20 male, worked in a warehouse. One of my co-workers, let's call her Shrek. Shrek was middle-aged and female and had just had a baby and recently came back to work. I usually paid Shrek no mind. We didn't run in similar circles, plus I wasn't exactly fond of her as a person anyway, so there wasn't much need for us to interact. To give you an idea of the kind of human being that Shrek was, she's the kind of person who sides with the villain of a story. For example, I was listening to Bill Burr's Monday Morning Podcast. Great listen, check it out. And Bill was covering a story where a husband finds out that his wife of 14 years cheated on him on their wedding day. He found this out when he had a chance meeting with the waiter that his wife banged in the same bed that they consummated the marriage in. Shrek overhears the story and blurts out that the waiter is messy, and why would he blow up that woman's marriage like that? I ask Shrek in return, well, was the wife not messy to cheat on her husband on their wedding day? Shrek had nothing to say for that. One day, however, we cross paths on the way back from the break room. She starts talking to me, and because of social politeness, I talked back. I don't remember how the conversation started, but we somehow got on the subject of my religion. I think she'd asked or interrogated me about why I never worked on Saturdays. I responded honestly, and I said Saturday is the Sabbath. I was raised Christian. Shrek kinda looks me up and down, gets a smug sneer on her face, and replies something along the lines of, really? You don't look like the kind of person who'd believe in God. At this point, I go deadpan. Social politeness switch off. I retort to, well, Shrek, you don't look like the kind of person anybody would want to get pregnant. Yet you still had a baby. Shrek has no response. She just stops walking and stares at me with her jaw dropped. I walk away done with this conversation. Over the next few weeks, several co-workers that I did actually have rapport with came up to me asking things like, damn, how could you say such mean things to Shrek? And damn, I didn't know you were so mean, OP. Yeah, she told her co-workers what I said. I should have known that she would. Women tell each other everything. Excuse my misogyny. And Shrek was the gossipy type anyway. Every time they'd ask me these things, I'd ask them in return, well, did Shrek also tell you that you made fun of my religion beforehand? And that's why I said what I said? They all said, no, Shrek didn't tell me that part. Convenient. Regardless of me clearing things up with those who asked, I'd still already earn the reputation of mean guy to all the co-workers that Shrek told. I never got called into HR about it though. I guess Shrek realized that if she escalated it, then she'd also be on the hook for making fun of my religion. Let's get one thing straight. If you're nice to me, I'm nice to you. But if you go out of your way to be catty and disrespectful to me, I don't feel obligated to be nice to you either. That's reasonable. I know I wasn't wrong to say what I said. Being the a-hole doesn't always mean that you're wrong per se. I just want to know if I am indeed the a-hole here. I'm not really religious anymore. I reached the age of logic and reason, so I guess Shrek was right in the end. Right, okay, but she didn't make fun of your religion, OP. She said, oh, you don't seem like the type to be religious. That's not making fun of it. Is it? I don't feel like it is really insulting your religion. And even if it is a little bit, it doesn't justify what you said to them, OP. The top comment says this was a few years ago. I, 20 male, worked in a warehouse. One of my co-workers, let's call her Shrek. Mate, I don't need to read any further than that to know that you're an absolute clown, but I did. At absolute worst, she implied that she didn't expect you to be religious, whereas you implied that she's lucky to be a mother because of her appearance. Seriously, man, how is her comment an insult to your religion? And your comments are even more telling. In this post, you claim that she insulted your religion, but when folk point out that your actions weren't very Christian of you, you immediately defend yourself by saying that you're not religious anymore. So which is it? Did she insult your religion and your response makes you a bad Christian? Or did she make a comment about your former religion and you acted like a petty child? God, not only are you the jerk, but you're an embarrassing one at that. Yeah, what OP said was way worse than what the other person said. Yeah, definitely the a-hole. The next one that we're going to read is also labeled as the a-hole, so it should be an adventure to read. It's called Am I the a-hole for throwing away my roommate's food because I didn't like the smell? I, 25 male, share an apartment with my roommate Dave, 24 male. We've been living together for about a year, and generally things have been fine. We get along well, we split the chores, and we respect each other's space. Recently though, we've hit a rough patch. Dave has recently gotten really into cooking, which I initially thought was awesome because it meant that I didn't have to cook as much. However, he's been making a lot of dishes with strong spices and ingredients that I don't particularly like. Yeah, well, make your own food, OP. Why did you feel like because your roommate is into cooking that means that they're going to cook all of your food? That's not what that means. He probably doesn't want you to eat the food. Specifically, he's been making a lot of curry and other heavily spiced foods that leave a lingering smell in the apartment. At first, I didn't mind too much. I thought it was great that Dave was exploring new recipes and enjoying his hobby, but as time went on, the smell became more and more overwhelming. Even after he finished cooking, the scent of curry would linger for hours, sometimes even into the next day. It got to the point where I felt like I couldn't escape it, and it was starting to make me lose my appetite and feel uncomfortable in my own home. I approached Dave about it a couple of times, asking if he could maybe cook something else or at least use less of the strong spices. I tried to be polite and understanding, explaining that the smell was bothering me. Dave listened, but he said that this is what he enjoys eating and cooking, and he didn't want to change his diet. He suggested that I could open a window or use an air freshener if the smell was that bad. 2 days ago, I came home from work and the whole apartment smelled like curry again. I was already having a bad day, and walking into that strong smell was the last straw. I was really frustrated, and in the heat of the moment, I decided to throw away all of Dave's curry from the fridge. I thought this would be a good way to make the point that the smell was a real issue for me, and that I needed him to take it seriously. When Dave came home and found out, he was understandably furious. He said I had no right to throw away his food and that it was incredibly wasteful and disrespectful. He pointed out that he'd spent a lot of money on the ingredients, and now he had nothing to eat for the week. I could see how upset he was, and I immediately felt guilty. I apologized and offered to pay for the ingredients, but Dave is still really angry, and he's been avoiding me since. I have tried talking to him a few times, but he keeps giving me the cold shoulder, so Some of my friends think I overstepped. I'm pretty sure you know that you overstepped, OP. While others agree that Dave should have been more considerate of the shared living space, I understand that I acted out of frustration, but I also feel like Dave wasn't considering how his cooking was affecting me. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you already know that you shouldn't have thrown out his food, OP. And also, being frustrated is not a bloody excuse to do something like this. Like, oh, I had a bad day and I was already frustrated. Control it, bro. That doesn't mean you get to throw people's stuff out. That doesn't justify that. People get frustrated all the time. It doesn't mean they throw people's stuff away. Yeah, like this comment says, you the gay hoe. He said I had no right to throw away his food and that it was incredibly wasteful and disrespectful. Yeah, he's right. I was already having a bad day and walking into that strong smell was the last straw. I was really frustrated and in the heat of the moment. You need to learn to manage your own emotions. You should never take a bad day out on other people. You can't give in to frustration or act impulsively in the heat of the moment. That's how people ruin relationships and lose jobs and get in trouble with the law. It's pretty much roommate law that you don't touch somebody else's food unless you have their explicit permission. I'm glad you already offered to pay Dave back. You should go ahead and do that ASAP. And yeah, buy some air freshener and a fan. Open some windows. Yeah, definitely. Once again, I feel like this one is pretty simple. Like, yeah, don't do that. And the bit about getting frustrated too, that's not good. You need to be able to get frustrated but not do stuff like that. It's not an excuse to do stuff like that. The next one that we're going to read is called Am I the Gay Hoe for Walking Out of the Room After My Brother Told Me the Name of His Baby? I'm only a teenager, but my mother had my brother at 16, making him in his 30s. Ever since I was young, I've always talked about naming my future daughter Scarlett. I don't know why, but I've always adored the name. Every time the topic of babies and names and children comes up, I always say that my daughter will be called Scarlett. Everybody in my family knows this. Last week, my sister-in-law gave birth to a healthy baby girl, and as you can probably guess, they named Scarlett. I was really upset at my brother as he knows that was my top name. I didn't make a big deal about it. I just left the room obviously upset. Scarlett isn't a family name or anything, and my brother has never mentioned even liking the name. One time he said that he wasn't a fan. I asked him why he'd name his daughter that, and he told me to stop overreacting and to get over it, and that I don't own the name. I get that it doesn't belong to me, but just because I'm a teenager doesn't mean that I'm not allowed to have plans for my future. Edit, when I say I walked out, like I didn't storm out or anything. I just sort of excused myself. A lot of people are saying that it is common for cousins to have the same name, but not here and in my family. And also, Scarlett isn't a common name here. Some people are confused. I'm a girl and I'm not 16. There's a comment here that says you're not an a-hole, but your brother's right. You don't own the name. It sucks that your sister-in-law named the baby Scarlett, but did you ask her about it? Was it a special name to her? Did she know that you had that name picked out? Or did your brother not share that information? And remember, you may not have any children when you're married, or you may have kids and they may end up being boys, or you go ahead and name your daughter Scarlett and that's that. And OP said, yeah, she knew. She's been in my life since I was like 5 years old. Yeah, that's not very good then. Like, yeah, obviously you don't own the name, but they knew about it. And also your brother said that he didn't like the name. And your brother's partner also knew about it too. But yeah, also you haven't done anything to make you an a-hole, OP. You're just upset about it. There's a comment here that says no a-hole. He's right that you don't own the name. There's no guarantee that you'll have a daughter or that she and her cousin will socialize. However, he doesn't own it either. And so if you go ahead and name your daughter Scarlett and he freaks out, then he'd be the a-hole. And OP said, yeah, he would freak. And the comment under that says, still, you should use it someday if you want to. Tell him now that you plan to use it anyway if one day you have a daughter, so he's forewarned. If he has an issue about that, tell him he doesn't own the name and he should have expected this. Well, that's a really good point because he should have expected that. Like, if you've always said that you're going to name your daughter Scarlett, he can't be surprised if you name your daughter Scarlett one day. Okay, the last one that we're going to read today. Am I the gay hoe for not retaking the family photo since my daughter-in-law wasn't in it? Every couple of years, we get everybody together and do a giant family photo. In total, it's about 40 people. The last one that we did was in 2018 and we decided to do it again. I organized the whole thing and everybody was told that small pictures will be done at 4 and the big picture was at 5. Afterwards, we get dinner. The issue is that my son and daughter-in-law were running late. It wasn't a big deal since it was just small pictures. They get here in time for the large picture. I asked everybody to be there on time. I called twice asking if anybody is missing. Everybody is lined up and the photographer takes like 15 minutes for the big picture. Everybody is hungry and hurrying to get food. My daughter-in-law soon comes out asking about the picture. It's around 5:30 at this point. She told me that she was in the bathroom fixing her hair when the picture was getting taken. She asked me to round up everybody again to get a picture. I told her no, that she was late to coming to the event and couldn't care enough to actually be on time for the picture. I'm not gathering everybody up again and paying the photographer an extra hour. The photographer was done and packing up at that point. This caused a huge argument between her and me. My son is demanding that I get it in the picture, and I told him to pay somebody to Photoshop her in. Am I the gay hoe? Yeah, like the top comment says, why did your son not speak up and mention that she was not there when the picture was taken? That's weird. And OP said, I don't know. I seriously don't know why he didn't speak up. Either he didn't care or didn't notice. Yeah, that's super weird. Like, hold on a second. Did he assume that like everybody knew that she was in the bathroom or something? Yeah, no, I don't feel like you're the a-hole OP. And also, I like the Photoshop idea. I bet you somebody could make it so like you couldn't even tell. Yeah, I don't feel like it was that big of a deal, was it? And like this comment says, not the a-hole, and it's pretty self-centered to assume that 39 people and a photographer that your in-laws are paying for will wait and should wait for you to fix your hair for 30 minutes. She should be annoyed at herself and her husband. Yeah, that's a really good point. Shouldn't even really be upset at OP. Like, yeah, the husband was in the photo, and the husband, I guess, knew that she was in the bathroom. Should be upset at him. But yeah, Photoshop her in and you won't even tell the difference. The first story that we're going to read today is about a Karen. I got followed for close to a mile by a crazy Karen when I was walking my dog. Last night around 10 p.m, I was taking my dog for a walk through the neighborhood. We don't have a yard, so we have to walk her 3 times a day so she can do her business. I always pick up after her, and people usually give a friendly wave when they see us, but not tonight. My dog starts doing her duty at the edge of somebody's yard while I stand on the street holding the leash. I'm starting to pull out my poop bag when this woman comes running up to us yelling, "Don't let your dog poop here." I was surprised and weirded out, but I told her, "Don't worry, I'm picking it up." She keeps getting closer to us yelling, "No, don't let your dog poop on my property. My window's open and I don't want to smell it. Control your dog. Make your dog stop." My dog's mid-turd at the moment, so I explained that dogs don't really work that way. I told her I can't stop her from pooping, but I will pick it up. The lady's not listening to me and just keeps on getting closer, yelling about dog poop or something. My dog starts growling at her, so I warn her by saying, "Please don't get too close to my dog, she does bite." And then the lady says, "Okay, I'm calling the police and they're gonna arrest you." I say that's okay, and I ask her to please go into her house and call the police. She tries to go back into her house, but it seems whoever she lives with has locked her out. I wonder why. She starts running towards me again, and I again warn her that my dog will bite. My dog is growling and barking now, because dogs don't like screaming Karens in their face. Karen starts screaming at me to pick up the poop and that she's gonna call the police to have me arrested. I said, "Ma'am, I'll deal with that later. Right now, your hostile behavior is creating an unsafe situation for me and my dog, so we're gonna leave now." She starts screaming profanities, calling me names and chasing after me. I just continue to walk away thinking that it'll end there. But no, she continues to follow me down the street. I can hear her yelling into her phone at the police to come and arrest me. I hear her telling them that I threatened her with a dog bite. I just keep on walking, knowing the cops are telling her to go home and they'll deal with it later. In brackets, never. She continues to walk behind me at about a 15-foot distance. She's now yelling in another language at somebody who I assume is the person who locked her out of the house. I hope that she'll stop following me eventually so I can go home. I don't want her to see where I live, so I take several detours, but she just keeps on following me from about 15 feet away. I don't have my phone, so I can't call for help. I decide to head into the downtown area to find somebody to help. This lady followed me almost a mile into town. From 15 feet away, she just silently followed me, walking my dog through the neighborhoods and business districts and across the highway into town. She had her phone out recording me. I was getting really annoyed and I made it to a busy bar that had 5 young men standing outside. Unfortunately, they're all speaking in a foreign language as well. I turn around and tell the lady to stop following me. She starts yelling, "You follow me back my house for police to arrest you. You threaten me dog bite. Follow me now. Police want to arrest you." I told her, "Sure, I'll follow you. You lead the way." She almost fell for it, but she saw me try to slip away and turned around and started her whole yelling thing again. The young men outside the bar just kept talking amongst themselves. I continued walking through town with the lady following me and recording me on her phone. I finally ran into a woman who approached me with a very concerned look on her face. I said, "Can you please help me? This lady has been following me for over an hour." The nice lady said, "I know, I've been watching this go on for a minute." She confronted the Karen, telling her to leave me alone. The nice lady looked at me and said, "Just go." So while Karen was busy yelling at the nice lady about how my dog pooped or whatever, I just started running. I ran through a couple of businesses and onto a back street, and I was able to lose Karen. I walked a full mile back to my house and I locked the door behind me. I don't know what kind of crazy that was. All I know is that I feel really bad for whoever was inside the house with the doors locked. I hope they're okay. Wow, so because your dog was taking a poop on their lawn, they felt like they were going to get you arrested? What the hell? That's so terrifying because you didn't do anything. And like, what did they think the police were going to do? That's so wild. I'm so happy the other person helped you, OP. Yeah, this comment. "So you took Karen for a walk? I hope you picked up her poop." And OP said, "Of course, I'm a responsible Karen walker. I must admit that she does still need some training for all that yapping." Yeah, I don't understand how that even happens. Like, was she bored or something and didn't have anything to do and then decided to do this? It's so confusing too, because in no world would the police arrest OP. Like, I don't even even know what they were thinking. Good start to the episode though. The next one is an Am I the AAL post. Am I the AAL for not making my wife choose between me and her affair partner? As soon as I found out, I moved out and I filed for divorce. Counseling is not on the table. An open relationship is out. I'm not interested in having anything to do with her again. She tried to say that if I would ask that she would choose me. Gross, I don't want her. Some of our friends think that I should have fought for our marriage. What are you talking about? Why the hell would you fight for somebody who's having an affair? I offer to sleep with them or their wives to see how they feel about the situation then. No one has taken me up on my kind and Christian offer. I'm paying my half of the lease on the apartment. There are 4 months left. In the meantime, I'm going to work and then spending my time off at all-inclusive resorts. It's cheaper than getting an apartment for myself. Am I the AAL for not trying to save our marriage? No, OP, not even a little bit. And why the hell should you fight for somebody like that? Like, oh yeah, I'm really gonna fight to be with somebody who's gonna cheat on me? No, that's ridiculous, and you're doing the right thing, OP. Get out of there and don't look back. Yeah, the top comment, it's so weird when cheaters say stuff like, why won't you fight for our marriage? Like, hey, you could have easily fought for our marriage by not sleeping with somebody else, but okay, make me the bad guy here, not the a-hole. Yeah, you're incredibly not the a-hole, OP. Like, if they're okay to betray you like this, OP, you have every right in the world to never speak to them again, let alone bloody fighting for them. Get out of here. That's so stupid and so manipulative. Yeah, and the comment under that one too, not the a-hole. If she was gonna choose you, she shouldn't have had an affair. And I like your response to the friends too. Yeah, same. I don't know what the friends were even talking about. Like, oh, you should have fought more. Oh, get out of here. Yeah, you couldn't be more not the a-hole, OP. I can't believe that. That's so frustrating. Like, OP got cheated on, and you're saying that they should have fought harder? That's so wild, and you're definitely not the a-hole, OP. The next one is called, Am I the a-hole for slapping a woman that was protecting my baby? Hello everybody, my wife asked me to help make her post more clear. First, I want to thank everybody for the comments and the love shown for my brother-in-law. I'm gonna write the story from mine and her point of view. Also, I'm using fake names for everybody in this. I, 31 male Tim, and my wife, 29 female Ashley, welcomed our healthy baby boy, Ned, into the world 6 months ago. Her brother Mike is 24 male with special needs. He's had many medical issues since birth and is different than most people. However, he's the kindest and most fun person to be around, especially when he's talking about sports. When Ned was born, Mike was very hesitant on holding him, but was very curious about him. Last month, Mike actually wanted to hold Ned. My wife and I were thrilled. We do have rules in place for him holding Ned, but Mike likes the rules. Mike needs to be sitting down and my wife and Mike's parents or I need to be around. This is mainly in case Ned gets fussy so we can take him from Mike so that he doesn't get overwhelmed. A week ago, Ashley's cousin Don's daughter Lily graduated high school and was throwing a party with her best friend Anna. We know both of the girls and wanted to go celebrate with them. Mike wanted to come, but his parents didn't, which was totally fine, so we brought him. Ashley was on an outdoor patio couch talking with Don while I had Ned. I was talking to a coworker that happened to be a friend of Anna's family. Mike came up and asked to hold Ned, so we went over to Ashley and he sat down. I gave Ned to Mike and I asked Ashley if she needed any water, since I was going to go grab a beer from our cooler. I went to get the drink and I was talking with my coworker when a woman, Karen, started screeching saying, "He shouldn't be touching that baby." We live in a place that's heavily influenced by certain religions, and she was saying how somebody like Mike shouldn't be holding babies. She was screaming that Mike would drop Ned and hurt him, and how is everybody just ignoring it? Ashley asked the woman to stop yelling and stood up standing in the view of the Karen for Mike. She was telling Mike that he was fun, but the woman kept screaming that he was going to hurt Ned. This got Mike flustered and in turn made Ned start to cry. Ashley took Ned from Mike, who instantly was covering his ears. I started heading towards them when Ashley was asking the woman to stop and leave them alone. Karen responded with, "How could a mother let an abomination from God, oh my God, hold on to an innocent baby? Wow. He's gonna hurt the baby now and in the future. How dare she?" As she's yelling, she was getting closer to my wife and pointing at Mike over and over. Before I reached her, my wife turned and slapped the woman across the face. Karen stopped yelling for a moment and I came up and took Ned from Ashley. Some man came over and grabbed the Karen who was freaking out that Ashley had hit her. Ashley told Karen if she keeps on yelling that she'd get a black eye too to go with the handprint on her face. Don was able to help get the Karen away from us. Ashley had to lift up Mike off the couch and guide him to the car so we could leave. I grabbed Ned's stuff and I went to the car where Mike was crying and apologizing for hurting Ned. Ashley was crying and telling him that he did nothing wrong. I drove to my in-laws and I told them everything. Mike was able to get into a therapist the next day and has been going every day. In the middle of the week, my wife went to talk to Lily and Anna happened to be there as well. Ashley felt bad that their party got ruined and Anna was apologizing that her aunt did that. Ashley had gotten the girls massage certificates to apologize and to help them celebrate going into college. Anna tried not to take it, but my wife insisted. It wasn't Anna's fault that the adult Karen acted the way that she did. Currently, Mike is still going to therapy, but the therapist said an event like this can take some time. He will come around Ned and is happy to see him, but won't ask to hold him. If you ask Mike to hold Ned, he'll quickly say no and and then leave the room. Taking some commenters' advice, we are going to try to just hang out with Mike on a blanket on the floor with Ned, just to see if it helps him be more comfortable. Karen has found Ashley on social media and has been messaging her along with some of the friends and family. From what I gathered, she's only telling people that she was protecting the baby and that my wife hid her for no reason. She has threatened to sue, but as of today hasn't done anything. I work with a lawyer who has put me in touch with one that is willing to represent my wife if it ever does come to that. Fingers crossed that Mike will be comfortable to soon hold his nephew. We will also try to update if things change. My wife vented to one of her friends in her mummy and me class that ended up telling everybody what happened. All of the mums say that my wife went too far when striking the woman. That's made my wife wonder if her protective instincts were too much. She was worried for her child and brother's safety and didn't want to give Karen the chance to get physical. I hope this makes sense for people, and thank you for all the loving comments so far. Oh my god, so not the a-hole, OP. You can't call somebody an abomination without expecting people to get upset. And to be honest, if you're gonna call somebody an abomination, you should just about expect that somebody's gonna slap you for it. How dare they? Yeah, like the top comment says, an abomination? She said that your special needs brother was an abomination. Holy crapola. I might have put her face on the barbecue. I can't believe you didn't give her a knuckle sandwich. You are not the a-hole. Also, I hope your brother was okay and that he still likes to hold the baby sometimes. Yeah, 100%. Once again, it's a mess around and find out situation. You do not say stuff like that. The comment under that says absolutely not the a-hole, and you did not go too far. She was not protecting your baby. She was attacking your brother unprovoked. She deserved a black eye, and I'm sad that she didn't get it. Yeah, the audacity to say that she was protecting your baby. That's so unbelievable. Like, what an awful person, for real. And yeah, of course your wife isn't the a-hole, OP. The next one is called Am I the a-hole for dismissing my sister saying that I need to rename my son because it's on her baby list, and telling my parents that she better buy the rights for names if she wants people to stop using them? This is so petty, but maybe I went too far. I, 26 female, have an older sister, Jade, 28 female, who's not in a relationship, is not pregnant, and is not planning to have kids anytime soon, while I had my son a few days ago. I'm not close to my family. There's a very big golden child thing with Jade, and my parents really should have stopped at their one perfect darling kid, which is what they call her, because I got the short end of the stick with them always. So when they found out that my son's name is Finnick, Jade came and told me that I could not call him Finnick and I needed to rename my son because Finnick is on her baby boy name list, so she's gonna use it one day and not me. I laughed in her face and I told her to leave, and I dismissed her request by saying that she had no authority in this. My parents decided to jump in the next day and they told me I should listen to my sister and I should choose another name to be a good sister to Jade. They said to think about how Jade would feel, and she prides herself on that list. I decided to bring some snark into this, and my response was simply that if Jade wants to own the rights to names, then she better get rich fast and buy those names, because otherwise she can't stop people from using the ones that are on her list. Not even me. For the record, I know it doesn't work like that. My parents started to freak out over this, and they basically told me that I was being a bully by saying things like that, and how dare I dismiss Jade. I threw them out too, and what followed were texts from Jade and my parents saying that I had no reason to treat them so rudely. I blocked them. I might be done, but did I go too far? Am I the a-hole? No, of course you're not the a-hole, OP. How bloody ridiculous. Oh yeah, I know that I'm not even in a relationship and I'm not pregnant and I have no plans on having a kid in the foreseeable future, but you're not allowed to use a name that's on my name list? What a bloody joke. Yeah, this comment, yeah, what a weird thing to center herself around. A baby name list is something that she prides herself in when she's not even in a relationship or planning to have kids anytime soon. This girl needs a better hobby than making a list of names to gatekeep. Might be a lot of the reason why she's single. Yeah, and typical too, the parents just backing her up. No, you're not the a-hole, OP, and I feel like you did the right thing. The top comment says not the a-hole. If you looked over your sister's list and you told her certain names were off limits because they were on your list, would she offer you the same benefit? Of course not. This is the action of a child who was given special treatment by your parents and never told no in her life. She grew up into an adult who doesn't seem to comprehend that there are other people in the world and you can't dictate the terms of another person's life. You name your baby whatever it is you wish to name them. You tell your sister that she survived the millions of other people having the same name as her future baby, so she'll survive yours if you happen to choose that name. And the comment under that says, or better yet, tell them that Jade is on your list and that she should be a good sister and change her name in case you have a daughter next. Yeah, how silly. You're definitely not the a-hole, OP. The next story that we're going to read is on the Entitled People subreddit. Entitled coworker was not invited to a coworker's birthday party and thinks that she gets to be an a-hole all day. I work in a small office, 5 office and the boss. We all work from home. One coworker is a real toxic a-hole. She's mean, rude, condescending, and an all-around unpleasant person. One coworker had her 30th birthday party yesterday. It was one of those painting places where everybody watches the instructor and paints. I had no idea that she wasn't invited until the this morning. She was like a pit viper all morning, being mean and rude and insulting, showing everybody mistakes they made months ago, taking personal digs at each of us, called the birthday celebrant fat. The entitled one is 300 pounds and 5'5" lol, and yelled at me for not answering the phone fast enough. She finally asked me why so-and-so didn't invite her to her party. I told her to ask her, but if she's pissed that she wasn't invited, that doesn't mean she gets to treat everybody horribly all day. She finally confronted the birthday girl, who told her, "You're mean and you're hard to be around. I don't like you, that's why." Wow. Oh, that's so deserved as well. She's been silent since then, thankfully. Wow, good on your coworker for being honest. And to be fair, if somebody is acting like that, they kinda do need to know about it. The top comment says, lessons learnt from the toxic a-hole. None. But my goodness, would I love to be a fly on that wall. Good for your coworker for telling the truth. Yeah, definitely. And the comment under that says, learnt from her. Plenty. Namely, avoid, avoid, avoid. Learned by her, not a one. And somebody under that said that her silence means that she's still processing this. And the one under that, people like her never think of themselves as being wrong. She's merely plotting her revenge. Yeah, the coworker said what everybody would have wanted to say. Like, hey, I don't like you. And that's why, okay? How about you stop being mean and awful to people? Maybe that'd help a little bit. The next one is called You Paid for a Kid's Milk. Now buy my cigarettes. I used to work at a little convenience store in a very small town. Every customer was a regular. I had this one kid who was about 12 years old. He came every school day on his bike. He brought a chocolate milk and a thing of cheese crackers every single day. The total at the time was $2.08 after tax, US dollars. The kid always paid in change like it came out of his piggy bank. One day he came in with a look that said that he had a really bad day. He shuffled through the store and grabbed his usual but was short about 10 cents. He went to put his crackers up and I pulled a dime out of my pocket, smiled at him saying that he's all good and to enjoy his snack. The kid thanked me and left looking quite a bit happier. The next customer was a regular as well, but was a man in his 40s and he wanted his usual pack of cigarettes. I ring him up and I tell him the total. He smiles and says, "Well, aren't you paying for it?" I tell him no. He proceeded to yell at me that if I'm buying customer stuff then I should pay for his cigarettes. Wow, so he wasn't joking? There's a line of customers behind him that saw what had happened with the kid. I tell him that there's a difference between helping a kid who is slightly short for an after-school snack and a full-grown man trying to force a woman to buy his smokes. He starts to yell at me about favoritism and I look at him in the eye and tell him, yeah, and? He proceeds to yell insults at me before I simply grab his cigarettes and I put them back on the shelf. The guy is like, "What are you doing? I'm buying those." I respond, "Not today and not from me. Please leave." He starts to reach across the counter when I step back. Now, it's important to note that I was about 7 months pregnant at the time and stepping back revealed my pregnant belly. I'm short, so the counter typically hid this feature. I wasn't doing it to reveal anything. I was only getting out of rage. The customers behind him started to riot about him attacking a pregnant woman for helping a kid. The guy was no longer a regular. He left in a huff and every customer behind him started an after-school snack fund for the kid. Started with the first guy putting an extra $1 on the counter for the kid, and it just kept on going until I set a jar. The kid had free chocolate milk for almost a month before I had to go on maternity leave. Wow, that's so entitled. When you said that he said, "Well, aren't you paying for it?" I assumed that he was joking because I can definitely see somebody joking about that in that situation. Like, "Oh, you're gonna buy these too?" But no, they weren't joking, and then they started yelling at OP. Like, how awful. But also, that's not the part that we should focus on. The good part about this is it had a beautiful ending. Like, that's so nice of everybody at the end. But yeah, it blows my mind how entitled people can be. The first one that we're going to read today is on the Am I the AAL subreddit. Am I the AAL for refusing to ask my partner to drive my friend to work when I go on maternity leave? I'm currently 7 months pregnant and I give my friend a ride to work. I've been doing this the last year because they lived 3 minutes away from me when I was in my old apartment, and I continued to do the faithful when I moved in with my partner. I'm going on maternity leave next month and my friend has no idea how she's getting to and from work. She's been trying to figure it out since I found out that I was pregnant, but she can't drive. There are no driving schools nearby. The closest one is 2 hours away and they have no family to help them. I said I wish I could help more, but giving her rides while I'm on maternity leave and driving with a newborn at 6 a.m. just isn't happening. Today she was suggesting that I ask my partner, my baby's father, if he would drive her. And I said, no, I'm not asking. We have to be at work at 6:30 and my partner had to be at work at 7:30. And we live 10 to 15 minutes away from my friend. And our job is 20 minutes away from his job. And I'm not making my partner wake up earlier than he normally does to get ready for work and then drive my friend to work because she can't find a ride. She made a joke saying that he should because because it's his fault that I have to go out of work because he got me pregnant, and as a friend that she would appreciate the favor. I said I wish we could help, but I'm not asking him. She's upset with me because I won't even ask, but I already know that my partner's going to say yes because he has people pleaser tendencies, so I'm making the decision for him. Then she brought up how she wouldn't have taken the job that I helped her get if she knew that she wouldn't be able to carpool anymore. She figured it out when I couldn't give her rides due to illness or appointments, but now I feel like she's trying to guilt me and keeps insisting that I just ask, and she won't drop it. Am I the a-hole? No, not even a little bit, and good on you for having the boundary there, OP. Like, do they want you to do everything for them? Figure it out yourself. Oh my god, how annoying. Like, do you want me to make you breakfast as well and tuck you into bed every night? Find your own bloody way to the job. And the audacity of the bit at the end there when it said then she brought up how she wouldn't have taken the job that I helped to get if she knew that we wouldn't be able to carpool anymore. So now what, the blame is on you? How frustrating. The top comment says, it's so nice to read about somebody who protects their partner from being taken advantage of. Absolutely not the a-hole. And OP said, yeah, he does the same for me, and it's part of the reason our relationship works so well and we don't get overstimulated in our relationship. Yeah, good on you, OP. You did the right thing, definitely. And yeah, 100% the friend is only trying to guilt trip you. Don't let them, OP. Like, they really don't have a leg to stand on. Like, what, are you meant to be responsible for everything in their life? I'm pretty sure they can figure it out. The comment under that one says, you both seem like people pleasers, and your friend is so used to taking advantage of you that she has the audacity to expect you to inconvenience your partner so that she can get a ride to the job that she has because of you. Yeah, that's a really good point as well. She has the job because of you, OP. Where's the gratitude for that? You might be the a-hole for asking if you are the a-hole, for not putting yourself and your partner first. That's such a good point. Like, yeah, the friend sounds so entitled and so ungrateful. And yeah, either way, none of it's your responsibility, OP. The next one is also from Am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for telling my parent friend that she needs to cook and that's why her daughter isn't eating? My daughter has a best friend since kindergarten and they're in 7th grade. This year, Sarah has gotten quite thin and her mum has come to me saying that she isn't eating. My daughter backed this up and said that she picks at her food at school. I thought it was an eating disorder at the time and I told my friend to take her to the doctor. My friend needed to leave for a work trip this week and asked me to watch over her. No big deal, she'll stay over for the week. The first night I made meatloaf and she ate it. She didn't get sick. The rest of the week, anything I made she would eat, no issue. She even came back for seconds most meals. At the end of the week, she asked me why my food didn't make her sick. Apparently she only eats TV dinners at home, which make her feel like crap. The school food also sometimes makes her feel sick, so she's also cautious about that. My guess is there's an allergen in preservative foods. She needs to get that checked out. I dropped her off and I pulled my friend to the side and I told her everything. I told her that she really needs to cook and take her to get her allergy checked out. She was not happy I said this and basically called me a jerk for overstepping. Am I the a-hole? Should I apologize? No, I don't feel like you were the a-hole, OP. You were looking out for her daughter. Yeah, like this comment says, I'm going to say not the a-hole. I do understand why your friend feels that you overstepped, but it appears to me that you only offered her your observations out of concern for her daughter. Yeah, definitely, and it is concerning about the daughter. No, I don't feel like you're the a-hole, OP, and I don't even feel like the mum's focus should be on herself. The mum should be focused on doing the right thing for her daughter. The top comment says not the a-hole. She isn't eating because the TV dinners are making her sick. The solution is her not eating those TV dinners. That means mum has to cook. Mum got defensive because she knows that she's being a generally crappy parent in this aspect. She can batch cook or crockpot cook or meal kit cook or find fresh pre-made meals. She can't just let her kid starve or be ill all the time. Can you send food with your daughter during the week so the kid has a dinner that night? Edit. Also, the friend came to OP for advice. She was asking OP for her opinion. Yeah, like of course they're not going to like to hear that it's their fault and they're not doing a good job at looking after their kid, but that's still not what they should be focused on. Yeah, like this other comment says, not the a-hole. Why is she upset? Why doesn't she care about her daughter's condition at all? And is she calm about the fact that her daughter doesn't eat anything? Yeah, definitely doesn't sound like you're the a-hole, OP. The next one that we're going to read is on the Entitled Parent subreddit. Entitled Parent thinks I owe her my seat because they didn't book a ticket for her child. This was a couple of years ago, but I can't get it out of my head, so I thought I'd share it here. Okay, to start with the story, my family lived across the country back then, so I would usually buy a flight to get there. This was during the holidays, so everything was backed up and there was a lot of storms. So when I got to my first layover, my flight was cancelled and they couldn't get in their system to get me a hotel, so I slept on the airport floor that night, clutching all of my bags. By the time I got onto the plane, I'd spent 24 hours in the airport. Luckily for this flight, I had booked first class. So I get on the plane and I get comfy and I'm just so happy that I'll be home soon after the last couple of days that I've had. Then a really nice flight attendant comes over and points at the empty seat next to me and mine and tells me a mother forgot to book her toddler a ticket and she was wondering if they could take my seat and the empty seat next to me. I told them I'm sorry, but I've had a really long day and I paid extra for this and I'd like to stay. The flight attendant was very nice and said no problem, but she let the woman come and sit in the empty seat next to me with her toddler on her lap. She immediately looks at me with a scowl and says, I can't believe you you wouldn't trade your seat for a kid, and I simply tell her, ma'am, I paid extra for this seat. You should have booked him a ticket. This isn't my fault. Then she keeps going off and saying things under her breath until we're toddler like I can't even hear her. And then she tells her kid to make the most noise that he can, and he can do whatever he wants. And she keeps saying things to me, and I can't believe this entitled woman. I finally lash out and I say, will you shut the F up? I'm not proud of myself for this, but with the last couple of days I've had, I didn't care anymore. But my common sense came back and I apologized for swearing in front of her kid, even though I heard her call me a biatch and many other words. Again, the woman wouldn't shut up. And finally my savior came. That really nice flight attendant came over and bent down to the woman's level and said, ma'am, you were lucky to be able to switch seats, and all I've heard from you since is you threatening this woman and telling your child to be noisy. This plane hasn't left yet and we have no problem kicking you off the flight, and if you continue to do this, well, we're in the air and you'll be banned. I couldn't help but smile. She finally shut up, and I was so glad that I downloaded Sex Life on Netflix so I could finish my steamy show right in front of her. Wow, that's so funny. Edit for people asking, I'm assuming the child was under the age of 2 but just a big baby. If your child is under 2, you can fly with them on your lap instead of buying them a seat ticket. I'm assuming this is what the woman did and was hoping that she'd get an extra seat. I hope that clears some things up, sorry. Edit number 2 for those asking, I'm guessing most people on the plane came from a cancelled flight as well. The plane was smaller than the last one that I was originally supposed to go on. I don't know if that was the reason that she needed a seat for her kid or not. I don't know why they didn't just switch the grandma to first class as well, but I guess the flight attendant asked if one of them wanted to switch, and the mum was the one who took the opportunity. Again, I don't know if that was the thought process, but it makes the most sense to me. Right, okay, that's so confusing. I don't know why they did that. Yeah, like the top comment says, they should have bumped whoever else was in the row with the mum up to first class next to you and given the kid that seat. It's such an odd decision to try to have you move down. Who's gonna leave an expensive seat for something crappier? And OP said exactly what I thought. I don't know what was going on. It was a smaller plane, so there were only 2 seats per aisle. But yeah, I still agree with you. Definitely couldn't switch back there. And also, imagine telling your kid to be as loud as they possibly can. Like the audacity. Imagine being that awful. Hey, make as much noise as you possibly can. Be a giant nuisance, please. OP also had a comment that said the flight attendant offered me the woman's seat in a lower class next to the woman's mother. If it was somewhere in first class, I definitely wouldn't have a problem switching. I should have cleared that up, my bad. Edit, I also think the flight attendant was over it from the beginning because she flat out told me that she didn't buy her kid a ticket, but she was very nice about it. Yeah, that's so wild. You paid extra for first class and they want you to switch to economy? Yeah, that's so weird. The next one that we're going to read is back on the Am I the AAL subreddit. Am I the AAL for not letting my in-laws see my newborn the day that he was born? For some backstory, my wife and I had a 24-week pregnancy end in tragedy roughly 2 years before this story. This left us feeling very protective of our most recent pregnancy. Our son decided that he wanted to wait until the last possible second to arrive, so we were scheduled for an induction. The entire time that we were in the hospital, I was constantly getting bombarded by her parents, sending me messages asking for updates on what was happening. I did my best to keep up with them until my wife got frustrated and told me to leave them on red. At roughly 7 p.m, my wife gave birth to a beautiful baby boy, and I could not have been happier. We let everyone know that he was here, and we were immediately asked what room we were in so that her parents could come and see him. We hadn't even left the delivery room yet. No visitors are allowed in there, and we told them that we were too tired for visitors that night. They constantly hounded us until we got to the maternity floor around midnight and we went to bed. We awoke to angry texts and voicemails from my father-in-law saying how disappointed he was that we were so selfish and careless because we didn't let them come and see their grandson. My mother-in-law even had the audacity to say, I might as well mourn this one too. Oh my god. What a disgusting thing to say. All of this gutted my wife. Yeah, of course. As she just pushed a human being out of her and she was already emotionally exhausted. For the remainder of our stay at the hospital, they refused to come and visit and they wouldn't talk to us no matter what we said. Well, to be fair, who cares? Like, obviously you do care and it's super hurtful, but with the way that they're acting, you don't want to see them anyway. The attitude kept up for the first 2 weeks of our son's life until I forced a confrontation over the phone where we got berated for not keeping them updated enough, not letting them come and invade our space at midnight in the hospital, and making her father-in-law waste a paid time off day. My son was born after he would have gotten off work, so it wouldn't have even made a difference. In the end, I apologized just so my wife could stop stressing, as it was affecting her recovery. So, am I the a-hole? I'm pretty sure we know who the a-holes are in this story, OP. Like, the way that your in-laws were acting is revolting, OP. But also, with that being said, I don't really feel like you should have apologized. You know, like, they're not deserving of an apology. Like, after that stuff that the mum said about how she might as well mourn this one too, if I were in your shoes, OP, that would have been the end of it. Like, you say that sort of crap, you're never ever gonna see them. Are you joking? Like, do you even want to be a part of my life, let alone my new child? Like, what a disgusting thing to say. But like you said, you apologize so that your wife could stop stressing about it. That's definitely understandable, but the parents parents need to be held accountable for that. Like, the last thing that you want them to think is that it's okay to do what they did. Yeah, this comment, the moment that your mother-in-law texted you, I might as well just mourn this one too, is the moment that I would have told her to think very carefully about her next choice of messages. That's being beyond hurtful and completely inappropriate. Yeah, and the comment under that, genuinely unforgivable. Yeah, and it is as well. You're not going to forget about that. There's a comment here that said you messed up by apologizing, even though you say you were doing it to take stress away from your wife. Really, what's happened is that by apologizing, you admitted that you were wrong and they were right, and that means that you've reinforced their behavior. They're going to act like this again and again and again. Yeah, and this comment too, I might as well mourn this one too. Those are estrangement level words. Without some level of groveling, I'd personally never want to see them again. Yeah, 1,000,000%. Like, do you want somebody in your life that's going to say stuff like that? Especially at such a beautiful moment in your life too. Hell no you don't. Yeah, this comment, not the a-hole but her parents sure are. No more apologies to these jerks. Get your wife to counselling so she can learn to stand up to them. Yeah, like, of course you're not the a-hole, OP, but yeah, please don't put up with any more crap from them, OP. Like, if they're acting like this now and they're this controlling and they're this awful, imagine how they're going to act when your child is growing up. Do you want them to be around your child? Probably not. And if they are going to be around your child, they need to know that they can't do stuff like this. The next one is also on the entitled parent subreddit. We were expecting you to watch our kid. 3-year-old birthday party held recently. It was a kid-themed venue, but not the kind of place that has staff or set up for kids to be dropped off. Invited many of the kids from our little one's daycare, so it's the first time meeting most of the parents. The following exchange happens and still bewilders me when I think about it. In walks entitled parents, EP, alongside others arriving, and it goes like this. Entitled parent, where can we put his bag in case you need anything? Me, confused by the question. Feel free to keep it at any table you choose to sit. Entitled parent, oh, we're just dropping off our little one. We'll be back to pick him up after the party's done, in 2 hours. I explain that we can't support watching their child and hosting said party. Nobody can be responsible for doing so. They will need to stay. Entitled parent, he's super simple to watch and you won't have a problem at all. Just call us if there is one. Their kid is a 3-year-old as well. Me, that will not be happening. Once again, we're busy hosting and watching our kid. You need to stay with your child. Entitled parent, well, I guess he and the gift that we brought will not be able to stay because we have shopping to do. Me, thank you for stopping by. They blankly stared at me, shocked that their threat didn't work. Of course, their kid had a tantrum having to leave so far, so they stayed for the first half of the party. Still walked out with their gift though. Oh darn, one less random Amazon kids toy. Who in their right mind thinks it's okay to drop off a 3-year-old with people that they've never met before, other than a daycare? Yeah, that sucks, and I feel like stuff like this would happen all the time. Yeah, the top comment, this happens more than you think. My youngest is 20 now, but when my kids were young, we all knew which parents were likely to do something like this. And OP said, looking past any concerns about the child, it just seems wildly disrespectful to the parents and the people hosting. Good way for your kids to not get invited to events in the future. I feel bad for the kids. And somebody said, yeah, except some people really shouldn't be having children, but are doing so regardless. Yeah, this one too. I honestly don't remember at what age kids get dropped off for parties, but in no planet is it 3. The one above that too. I think if it was a small at-home party, maybe could see leaving the kid if you knew or talked to the parents first, but at a public place, hell no. The problem that we had when our kids were younger is that we'd invite our child's friend and mum would show up with the friend, but also their 3 other siblings and expect us to keep them all. The first time it happened, I ended up in tears because I didn't have enough goodie bags for all the extra kids. We made sure to be very clear and put our foot down after that. I don't miss those days. Yeah, 100%, and I feel like OP did a good job handling this. Okay, the last one for today is called Am I the a-hole for screaming at my girlfriend after she picked the bathroom lock while I was in the shower? Throwaway account because I have to admit something really embarrassing. I, 24 male, just had a bad fight with my girlfriend Anna, 24 female. We met early in college, started dating 2 years ago, and then moved in together 3 months ago. I always thought we were great together. She's smart and funny. We've had the best talks and have similar views on science and politics. But we moved in together and she got upset because I take long showers. I don't like to talk about it, but I'm a hairy guy. Think Luther from Umbrella Academy. I quit sports when I was 13 because I couldn't deal with what the other guys would say about how much body hair I already had. So I shaved my whole body, and yeah, it does take a while. Anna and I have never talked about my shaving, but she has to know that I shave from feeling the stubble. So Anna started to question me why I spend so long in the shower. I should have just told her, but I was too embarrassed to say that it takes a while to shave. So I said I like to think in the shower. Then yesterday while I was in the shower, she used a screwdriver to pop the bathroom lock and caught me shaving. She put her hands on her hips and told me that I was wasting water, and I yelled at her to get out. She didn't leave and she lectured me more on wasting water, and then I shouted again a lot louder for her to get the F out. It freaked her out and she slammed the door behind her. I was mad and I took a few more minutes to cool down and think about what I was going to say to her. But when I got out, she'd locked herself in the bedroom. I could tell that she had her back against the door and was crying. She said that I scared her and that I showed her that I wasn't the kind of man that she thought I was. I told her that she'd scared me, and that it didn't even make sense why she did it because we don't even pay for water in our apartment. She got more upset and said that I didn't even understand the problem because I showed her that I could be violent and abusive, and I just needed to leave. I tried to keep calm and I asked her to come out so that we could actually talk about what happened, but she just kept saying that I wasn't who she thought I was and I had to leave. We've argued about ideas but never had a fight before, and I swear I've never yelled or cursed at her before like that. I hate fighting with anybody, and I am normally the more calm person when our friends have things going on. I feel like my whole world just suddenly fell out from under me. I don't think this was my fault, but I also think none of this would have happened if I wasn't so self-conscious about the body hair issue, or maybe if I'd just been honest with her from the beginning and I told her why I take long showers. I'm sure the relationship is over now and things are going to be messed up for a while, but I want to know if I'm the a-hole for causing this whole mess. Wow, okay. So she has the audacity to say what she said after she broke into the bathroom with a screwdriver. What the hell? The top comment says, not the a-hole. She literally broke into your private space to lecture you. She's the one with the issues. And this comment too. Nah, she's blaming you for being upset that she violated your trust and space. She's 100% the a-hole here. Yeah, and for her to get upset and to say, oh, you aren't who I thought you were, and I'm seeing a side of you that I haven't seen before. OP is seeing a side of her that they haven't seen before. There's another comment here that says, not the a-hole. She knew damn well what she was doing. She wanted to make sure that you weren't pleasuring yourself. She figured that she'd catch you at it and be able to scream at you about it. And then once she opened the door, she made up some lame excuse about the water. Yeah, it really does seem like that. Like she was so ready to catch him doing something. And because she was convinced that he was doing something, that in her mind must have justified her picking the lock somehow. Because, oh, OP is definitely in the wrong. Wait until I catch him in the act. And OP wasn't doing anything. Yeah, that's so not okay. And you're not the a-hole, OP. Yeah, that one's really bad. OP also left a comment here that says, hey everybody, I really wanted to say thank you for all the feedback. I've been trying to keep up with the comments and there are more than I ever thought there would be. And I appreciate you guys a lot, especially all the perspective on how to handle invasions of privacy and the need to not be so self-conscious about my issues. I texted Anna early this morning, but I haven't heard anything back yet. I let her know that I was not going to apologize for being upset after what she did, but that I understand that she might have thought something else was going on and that I am open to talk about it if she is. And if she doesn't want to talk about what happened, then we still need to get our living situation sorted out. I'm lucky that I have a friend from high school who also went to the same college, and he's completely fine to let me stay on his couch. But after just a few days, I already miss sleeping in my own bed. Anna didn't message me back today, but I'm sure I'll hear from her soon and I'll be able to figure out whatever's next. I'll definitely be more open about my self-image issues, and I have definitely been wanting to look into laser hair removal so I don't have to shave as much. Until then, I'll figure out ways to shave that don't use so much water. At least I feel like I have things to look forward to once all this is done, however it goes. Thank you all again. Wow, that was unbelievable. Good luck with that, OP. The first one that we're going to read is on Am I Wrong? Am I wrong for not wanting to follow my husband's tradition? Me, 37 female, and my husband, 38 male, are pretty average. We mostly get along. There's one thing that his family does that I could never get behind. When I first met his brother, he looked at me really weird for drinking a can of soda after a song and dance of asking him what was up and if he wanted something. He basically told me this thing their family does. According to him, I owed him a soda because I should have gotten him one before coming to his parents' house, and I should have gotten them one too. That sounds like the stupidest thing I've ever heard. He was under 18 at the time, and I thought this was some teenager rambling, but his parents and my future husband confirmed that I owed everybody sodas. What? This was atoned for as I paid for everybody's dinner the following night. I let it go because in my opinion it was so bizarre. His brother and his family continued to go and do this weird thing with me and him and each other. I mainly ignored it or repaid them in other ways. Fast forward to us being married about 4 months. I went to a special luncheon with my co-workers and I didn't tell my husband. Why would I? He's cooking dinner, I'm a bad cook, I do dishes and I pull my weight. I start talking about the lunch and some things that he likes to eat that were there. He says that I owe him lunch. I just laugh it off. He basically said that since I'm now a Smith, not our real last name, I have to do this. Oh my god. After about a week of hemming and hawing, it's agreed that I don't have to do it, but all born-in Smiths must. What is this crap? Fast forward and we do have a born-in Smith, our daughter. Once she reached about 6, she started noticing all the items and money that her father owed her and I didn't. As they seem fine with this tradition, I just ignored her, or if pushed I'd say it's something that you and daddy do, like how you go to church with me and daddy likes to sleep in. This morning my husband asked our daughter what she's going to do with all the money that he's repaid her. Instead of telling him, she says, I can't really do anything because mum never repays me. After both of them being obnoxious about it, I said, I don't owe you anything. If you don't come somewhere with me, the offer's done. If I ask you to come to the movies and you say no, I don't owe you the price of the ticket and any snack. She wouldn't stop. I said, this is why I don't do this stupid crap with your father either. I'm not surprised that my in-laws and husband kinda mad. A few of my friends think that I should go along with it until she's 18. She's currently 14. Am I wrong? What the hell did we just read? What are you talking about? That could be the dumbest thing I've ever heard. What's the point of that? Well, we read about some stupid traditions, but what is that? And what, your daughter's gonna feel like this is normal? Growing up feeling like everybody does stuff like this? I don't understand any of this. Yeah, like this comment says, I'm so confused. So if one of the family does something without any other member of the family, then that person has to give everybody an equivalent? Like what, any time ever? What if you take your child to Disneyland? You owe his parents and siblings a trip too? How far does this reach? Cousins, grandparents? Do they give you and husband and child something every time they go out? How does husband owe your child stuff? Like if he has a work lunch or does something with his friends, the logic is making my brain implode. Yeah, the comment under that, it's the dumbest crap I've ever heard of. It is 100%. But it's even worse to raise your daughter thinking that people do stuff like this. Like what? Yeah, like this comment says too, I don't understand what the flip any of this is. You have lunch with a friend, so you now owe him lunch? Why? If he goes to dinner with his parents without you, does he owe you dinner? If you have something, your husband has to have it? Is this some weird tit for tat, all things must be equal thing? Reading this upset me, your poor daughter. And OP said, basically, you can give the item or money. He tried offering me things before our fight, but I thought that was weird. One time we got a candy bar and I wasn't at the store, and he asked if I wanted him to go to the store and get me one. No. And the comment under that says, but why? He gets himself a candy bar or a snack and he has to get one for you or give you the equivalent money? For what purpose? And OP said, I never asked why. It seems the logic is that you would have given the items if you were there. No you wouldn't. Like going with my lunch, this was some time ago. If I made lunch or he did, we would have offered each other lunch. Him not being there, so he missed out on a lunch. Yeah, and like the comment under that says, this is mind-blowingly stupid. It is OP. That's so ridiculous. I'm so happy that we read this though, and I've learnt about what this is. Yeah, and the comment under that, what the hell did I just read? And what the hell did you marry into? What a strange family. Yeah, the fact that the entire family does it too is so weird. There's a comment that says your poor daughter isn't going to understand when she's out on her own, when nobody's giving her things just because they got it. Like if she's at a friend's house and the parent is eating something, is she going to tell them they owe her one too? You're not setting her up for the real world. This whole thing is stupid. And OP said she shares and she doesn't act like this with non-family members. Right, okay, so that's good at least. Because yeah, I was going to say, like what about when your daughter grows up and they have a partner or something? Like are they going to expect them to do this? Yeah, I honestly don't know how you put up with that, OP. If I was in a family that did stuff like this, I would not be able to put up with it. That's so dumb. I'm sorry that I'm reading so many comments, but this is so fascinating. There's a comment that says, so how far does this go? If he buys a car, is he supposed to buy one for every member of his family? A house? Vacations? None of this makes any sense. And OP said the biggest that I've seen is jewelry. Yeah, how are you meant to budget your income if you have to buy stuff for everybody all the time? Like, what do you mean? You go and see your accountant and they're like, why are you spending so much money? And you have to tell them like, oh, sorry, accountant. I do this stupid thing with my family where I have to buy stuff for everybody all the time. And oh yeah, I bought myself a new car for work, so I had to buy mum one and dad one and my brother one. Like, oh, okay, so you've lost your mind? Like, it's so hard not to laugh. That's so silly. Oh yeah, and are you wrong? No, you're not wrong, OP. I don't know how you even put up with this. You're definitely not wrong for not wanting to follow the tradition, if you can even call it that. Wow, that was amazing. I'm so happy that we read that. That was actually fascinating. The next one is called, Am I Wrong for Telling My Mum That I Would Not Be My Sister's Caretaker When She Becomes Unable to Do It? I, 17 male, have a 12-year-old sister who's severely mentally and somewhat physically disabled, and I've had to help my mum take care of her. I have to help my mum bathe her, feed her, and a bunch of other stuff. My mum recently asked to talk to me and basically said that when she gets to the point where she can't take care of my sister, that I was going to be her primary caretaker. I told her that I wasn't going to do that, and I've already sacrificed a good chunk of my life taking care of her. I want to be able to properly live my life without having to be tied down to be her caretaker. My mum doesn't want to spend any money hiring a caretaker and doesn't trust any extended family with her, so she says that I'm the only option, and she's pissed off that I won't do it. I love my sister, but I don't feel I should have to spend my life looking after her. My mum said that I'm selfish, that I won't help her. Oh no, definitely not. And I feel that she's selfish for expecting this of me. Oh yeah, you're definitely not wrong, OP. You're entitled to live your own life, OP. There shouldn't be any obligation here. You're for sure not wrong, and you're not wrong for feeling the way that you do either. The top comment says, not the a-hole, your sister's primary carer, your mum, is responsible for ensuring care continues. She can't just make you do it. She needs to ensure proper qualified care. She's already parentifying you. It must be really tough, but it's absolutely not your issue. Yeah, 100%, and it would be a tough situation, but yeah, it's not your issue, OP. And that's definitely not you being selfish, OP. It'd be super irresponsible of your mum to put all the responsibility onto you for you to solely care for your sister. That's not how it should go. know? Like, what if you have your own kids one day and you're gonna have your own family to look after? Yeah, like this comment says, not wrong at all. You're entitled to have your own life. Your mum's being unfair asking you to spend your future taking care of your sister. Yeah, and this comment too. You're not wrong. I'm sure your mum's concerned about what may happen to your sister eventually, but she's out of line by trying to bully you into taking care of her. You've already gone above and beyond to help care for her, but you have the right to live your life as you see fit. Yeah, didn't it say that OP was bathing her and stuff? Like, OP is already helping a lot. There are resources available to your mum. Perhaps you could help her find some in the community. Respite care would probably help her immensely since caretaking takes a huge toll, as you know. If you can get your mum to sit down and calmly discuss this, do so. No matter what, it's not selfish that you want to live your own life and not be tied down with a child that isn't yours. Yeah, you're for sure not in the wrong, OP. The next one is called, Am I the gay hoe for wearing white to a baby shower? I, 27 female, have been friends with Claire, 28 female, since high school. We have a small group of friends that have stayed close since then. Claire is pregnant and had her baby shower yesterday. I wore a white and blue floral sundress. I didn't think anything of it because, as far as I know, white is only inappropriate for bridal events. When I arrived at the shower, Claire's mood seemed to immediately sour and she was really cold towards me. Later, one of my other friends pulled me aside and asked me to leave. She said that Claire was offended by my attention-seeking behavior and that it was inappropriate to wear white to Claire's event. I left. I'm super confused. Like I said, I thought the white rule only applied to bridal events. Our friends are refusing to take sides, but a couple have told me that I should apologize even if I don't think I'm wrong. Well, that's not good advice. Not even a little bit. Am I the gay hoe? No, I don't think you're the gay hoe, OP. There must have been some other reason. No, you're right, OP. You can wear white to a baby shower. That's not even an issue, is it? Like, yeah, don't wear white to a wedding, but a baby shower is completely different. And also, you said it was a white and blue floral sundress. It's not even like it was completely white. How bloody silly. Yeah, the top comment, not the gay hoe. That's not a thing. Are you sure the color of the dress was the issue? It seems nonsensical. And OP said, I've been told it's about the dress, but I'm starting to think it's a body image thing. I'm not as thin as the rest of the girls in the group. Maybe Claire's upset that she is for very good reason the big one right now. Yeah, could be, but it's not okay to take that out onto you. Maybe after the situation cools a bit, you can talk to her and find out what's really going on in her head. You'll drive yourself crazy trying to guess. Yeah, for sure, and definitely don't apologize. That was terrible advice, OP. You've got no reason to apologize. In fact, they should be apologizing to you, OP, kicking you out of the event for bloody no reason, acting like you've done something wrong. Unless you did do something wrong that's completely unrelated, but I feel like you'd know if you did something wrong. No, you're for sure not the gay hoe. That's so stupid. And the audacity to make you leave too. And also the audacity to try and get you to apologize. For what? But yeah, like that comment said, you need to talk to her about it ASAP, OP. Try and understand what the real issue was. Cause yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense and you're definitely not the a-hole. OP left a comment here that says Claire wore pink. I didn't pay much attention to what colors other guests were wearing while I was there, but I know our other friend in our group wore yellow, blue, green, and black. Yeah, and you wore a white and blue floral sundress. What's the issue? I don't understand. And OP also left a comment that said the older ladies were dressed more conservatively. The younger ones were all in sundresses. My dress was far from the most showy or scandalous one there. Yeah, so like how were you being attention seeking? Yeah, no, that's so weird and you're not the a-hole, OP. The next one is called Am I the gay hoe for calling my girlfriend a dumbass and taking away her key after she almost burnt down my house? My girlfriend wanted a pizza. I have really good frozen pizzas from a local Italian market. They're made fresh and if you do them up on a pizza stone, they come out perfect. I've made these for us many different times. It's a simple process. You take the pizza stone and you put it in the oven and you let the oven preheat. Put the pizza on the paddle and you slide it onto the hot stone. Once it's ready, you slide the paddle under the pizza and you pull it out. Put it on the carving board and you cut it. Easy, right? Nope. My pizza stone was dirty. It's scorched, not dirty. So her brilliant idea was to make the pizza on my plastic cutting board. A plastic cutting board is not a pizza stone because that way she could just take the cutting board out with the oven mitts and then cut the pizza without having to use all the tools. I got home to see black smoke coming out of my house and my girlfriend on the phone with 911. The dog wasn't on his leash and he's going crazy. I go to the front door to see if it's hot in the house or if I can see flames. No flames, no heat. I get to the stove and I turn it off. I open the sliding door to let out more smoke and get my leash on the way out. The firefighters are there within like 5 minutes and the smoke is already dissipating. They go in to make sure. All clear. Thank God they were there in less than an hour. It's covered by the city. If it was over an hour, I would have been charged for the response. My oven is ruined though, and I've got a lot of smoke damage to clean up. I told my girlfriend I was glad that she was okay, but that she's a dumbass and she wasn't allowed in my house alone for a while. I took her key away. We don't live together, but she has roommates and likes having a big house to herself on her days off. She says it's a mistake that anybody could make and that I'm an a-hole for calling her names. Yeah, she said those words. She says it's my fault for not just getting microwave pizza and having to eat fancy. Did she even apologize apologize, OP? There's no way that she didn't apologize, right? Well, maybe she didn't, because at the end there it said she says it's my fault for not getting microwave pizza. Also, what the hell's microwave pizza? You don't make pizza in a microwave. Yeah, the top comment, not the a-hole. A 24-year-old who doesn't know that you can't put a plastic cutting board in the oven is a dumbass. She didn't apologize. She thinks that you're too fancy for wanting non-microwave pizza. Seems like she likes having your house to herself more than she likes you. And OP said, I have silicone stuff that can go in the oven. I guess that was the thought process. Yeah, the comment under that, calling it a thought process is generous. Yeah, no, that's unbelievable, OP. And then to not apologize and to say that it's your fault because you like making pizza on a pizza stone. How the hell does that make it your fault? Oh yeah, it doesn't. The comment under that one says, you're not the a-hole. She says it's a mistake that anybody could make. Yeah, maybe if they're high as a kite, she has a point. But anybody over the age of 5 knows that plastic melts. She says it's my fault for not getting microwave pizza and having to eat fancy. If heating frozen pizza in the oven correctly is outside of her scope of abilities, you're not the problem, OP. Yeah, that's so confusing and also irritating. You don't deserve crap like that, OP. And there's no way that if she had that sort of attitude that she's going to help you pay for a new oven. I was going to say, is she going to help you pay for an oven or the damages or something? But if she's trying to blame you for this, there's no way that she would. And it doesn't even sound like she apologized. Oh, that's so annoying. The comment under that says, not the a-hole and get a new girlfriend. She should have apologized. Yeah, I've looked at OP's comments too, and there's no comment that said that she did apologize. There's another comment here that says, not the a-hole. Normally, I hate posts when people encourage a breakup, but trying to put a plastic board in the oven is such next level dumb that I'd feel anxiety about all other basic stuff that I might have to explain. Like, does she know not to drink toilet water? Or the dog cannot answer the telephone? Okay, that's a little bit far, but that is a good point though. You're not going to feel like you can leave her alone after something like that. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't sound like you were super angry or super rude or something, OP. Unless there is something that you've left out, I don't feel like you're the gay hole. And the fact that she's not taking responsibility for it is sort of not a good sign either. There's a comment that says, not the gay hole. I don't even know what to say. She needs to learn to have some accountability for her actions. If she wants quick microwavable pizza, then she can go and buy it. Make sure your microwave has warranty or something though. Yeah, and by the way, microwavable pizza, that sounds so revolting and so unholy. And also OP had a comment here that said, I'm 30, she's 24, and my dog is 6. Yeah, like this comment says, I believe her response was the biggest issue. The fact that she didn't take full responsibility for her actions is troublesome. She should have apologized and offered to pay to replace your oven, which definitely needs replacing because of the toxins from the plastic. And also OP said it's ruined, didn't they? I would also think that she'd clean up the smoke damage, but I don't think I'd want it at my house anymore because of her lack of accountability. Yeah, definitely, that is the real issue there. Yeah, that's so unexpected. When I read the title, I was like, yeah, you probably are the a-hole. But no, I don't feel like you are, OP. The next one is on the relationship subreddit. Fiance and in-laws are upset that I won't take my spoiled niece to Disney World. So my 29 female fiance, 31 male, has 3 sisters. The one that I'll be talking about today is Nancy. Nancy has a daughter, Sally, 4 female, who's extremely spoiled. Like, you tell this kid no, and she'll start bawling and crying and throw herself to the floor. Just a full-on tantrum. Then when she gets what she wants, she'll go back to normal. And she'll get upset if you're upset at her for throwing a tantrum. Now, I've been planning a mini vacation to Disney World with my kid sister, 12 female, and nephew, 9 male, for months now. I have a well-paying career in the medical field, and I wanted to take them since they've never been. The rooms are booked with them sharing a room, but they have their own separate beds, with me and my fiance in the room right next to them. We're scheduled to leave in a week. Today, my mother-in-law and Nancy sit me down to say how it isn't fair that Sally isn't going to Disney World with her aunt and cousin-in-law, how she shouldn't miss out on the experience. I tell her, in order to avoid a fight, that maybe next time, as everything has been booked without a way to add anybody. I also add that my nephew and sister are still young, but at the age that I don't have to hold their hand to eat or use the bathroom and shower and stuff. My mother-in-law then says, family sacrifices for family. At that point, I said that they've already made up their mind and they're going to try to force or guild us to bring Sally. So then I reply saying that if Sally is going to come, then fiance will have to book her tickets, stay with her in her room. The rooms are booked to the resort Disney character rooms, and be the one to take care of her. Mother-in-law immediately argued against it, saying that he doesn't know how to take care of young kids, that since I was joining the family, I should want to bring Sally. Oh, get out of here with that. I told her it's a vacation. Why would I bring a child that's notoriously known for misbehaving, throwing tantrums and breaking down when told no? Nancy started yelling at me that her child is well behaved, that they can't afford to take her, so it's our responsibility. Yeah, that's not how that works. I then told mother-in-law and Nancy that the whole point of me and my fiance being dual income and no kids is that we can spend our time and money however we want to or don't want to. After some more arguing, they left. When my fiance got back home from work, we talked about what they said. Fiance told me that he wouldn't even take Sally if they threatened to disown him, him. He said that she's too much for him to handle and that Nancy even talks to him about how much she regrets having Sally. And that's on top of the price of the tickets and the fact that it'll be a week out of state and essentially across the country. I need advice on if that was the best way to handle it and if there's any way we can make it up to Sally but on a less extravagant way. Sally was not there for discussion. I do feel bad for Sally as it's very visible that nobody, adult or kid, really wants to be around her due to her behavior. I don't want to take her because I want to enjoy my time, and I know for a fact that that won't happen with Sally there. Wow, the audacity to say that it's your responsibility to take Sally. What a joke. No, it isn't. Yeah, like this comment said, personally, I just ignore sister-in-law and mother-in-law. They can make demands till the cows come home, but at the end of the day, they're not the ones paying for Sally to go. They're not the ones dealing with Sally's tantrums. Your trip was not intended for Sally to go. Sister-in-law has some mighty nerve to insist that you pay for her daughter to attend a trip that she wasn't even invited to. Yeah, talk about entitled. And guess what? They have an entitled kid too. Probably because they're so entitled. It sounds like the sister and mother-in-law are just about to bloody throw a tantrum. They sound just as immature and just as entitled. The top comment says, for the future, you need to extricate yourself from these ambushes the second that you realize what's going on. Conversations like this need to happen in front of your fiance, with him taking point. Also, don't justify your decisions. People like this are willing to argue with a blank wall in an empty building. They ask you to take your niece somewhere. The answer is sorry, no, I can't. Do not answer questions as to why or explain any further, as I already said I can't, and then leave or turn the conversation to some other topic if you can't bail. You have to teach other people what you'll tolerate. They've already shown that they're willing to go around your partner, ambush you and try to manipulate you and yell at you. This won't be the last of their crappy behavior if you give them even the faintest inkling of hope. Yeah, definitely, you need to be super firm with them, OP. They sound like bratty kids themselves. Oh my god, the first one that we're going to read today. I accidentally sent my husband to jail on the Am I the AAL subreddit. My husband and I spent 40 grand finishing my mother-in-law's basement. She's a widow, still very active, but my husband is going to inherit her house and she invited us to move in with her, so we did. Now mother-in-law is acting like our foster child is a major problem to bring into the home, even though we asked. Mother-in-law knew that foster child was moving in with us. We finished her space, painted her room, etc. But mother-in-law says that she doesn't like foster child for no reason. No behavior problems. Mother-in-law refuses to give my daughter and foster child a key. She doesn't want my daughter's boyfriend to visit. She keeps turning off lights while I'm working and bringing people into our space without warning. So her friends have caught me getting out of the shower twice. We've only been here 2 weeks. Anyway, TLDR, we had another conversation with mother-in-law about the issues. It turned into a fight, which was my fault. Mother-in-law said that she doesn't want us here. She said that her name is on the title and it wouldn't be too expensive for us to move out. I tried to leave and get a hotel, but my husband took away my phone and keys and repeatedly blocked my exit, but I was able to get away. I went to a neighbor's house and I called the police so I could get my phone back. Well, apparently he obstructed justice and perpetrated domestic violence by taking my phone and cancelling my attempts to call 911 using my Google Home device. So yeah, hubby was arrested tonight and I don't know what to do. I'm gonna bail him out first thing in the morning. He's completely non-violent, no criminal history or prior arrest, but I'm worried that he might divorce me or something. This is completely non-typical for us. We hardly ever fight and we've never called the police for help. Am I the a-hole for getting mad that mother-in-law doesn't want our foster child here? Am I the a-hole for feeling like the basement should be our space since we're paying half the mortgage and we paid to renovate it? Am I the a-hole for calling the police to get my phone and keys back? I didn't want my husband to go to jail. He doesn't deserve it, but I actually got him arrested. Help. Wow. Okay, that's a lot to take in for the first post in the video. There's a Q&A edit here. Question: how do we have a foster child? Foster child is not in the foster system. She's my daughter's best friend. Her mum is an abusive hoarder and kicked her out at 16. So she moved in with her sister, but her sister's boyfriend was soliciting her for oral diddly. She came to us because she had nowhere else to go. We took her in because it was the only thing to do. She just needed a place to land for a year or two while she finishes high school. So again, not fostering. We honestly thought that we were a good family and we could help. Okay, so there's a bit here that says resolution. A very expensive lesson. I have decided I'm the a-hole. I have 2 children who need me and I need to play nice. I had my a-hole butt in court as soon as the doors opened. I refused to make a statement or press charges. I spoke with the victim advocate and she helped me speak with the DA's office. I told the judge I've made a terrible mistake. I've never felt physically unsafe around my husband and I've taken every possible action to negate the charges. He did get released on recognizance. I was able to modify the mandatory protective order so he can come home. Lol, it doesn't really feel like home. The only thing that he can't do is buy firearms and ammo or be intimidating or harassing. My husband's brother asked me to not be present for his release, though I'd waited there all day. My daughter and foster child are staying at his brother's house tonight and so is my husband. Mother-in-law locked the girls out tonight so they don't want to be here. I get get it. His family doesn't want to be alone with him. I feel like I'm the perp, and honestly, I do blame myself because I did this. I didn't mean to do it, but I did, and I was reminded that all it would take is one call, and he could be doing time. That's terrifying. I can't let myself freak out again. It would ruin all of our lives. The only scary part for me is realizing that I don't have anybody to call. My family of origin is still in the cult. Wait, what? What cult? Oh my god, the plot is thickening, and I kinda lost my friends and community when I realized that I was agnostic. Oh, okay, I understand. I was like, what, you're a cult member? What's going on? My dad is a Baptist preacher. My family thinks I'm gonna burn in the lower regions of hell and drag my daughter along with me. We haven't spoken in 5 years. I also don't really have any money because I haven't been working and I sunk my money into renovations. I lost my job unexpectedly and we decided it was better for me to focus on the renovations and blending 2 or 3 households than to look for work. I'm currently making myself scarce in mother-in-law's basement. I've been keeping hubby's family updated, but I'm pretty sure that they hate me. Nobody's talking to me, and honestly, I hate myself. My husband's brother straight up refused to speak with me in court today, and mother-in-law hasn't talked to me or answered since I told her he was detained. My husband came over briefly to pack a bag. I apologize profusely. He says that I hit him. I don't remember doing that, but I guess it's possible. But I think if I did hit him, it might have been when he was blocking my exit. Neither of us are or were violent, so I really don't know. It happened pretty quick. In fairness, I got through a bottle of wine that night and 100% should not have stepped into an ongoing discussion with mother-in-law. That's why I say the argument was my fault. I did not start the fight, but I did escalate it. For the record, I was not going to drive. I knew I was drunk and I would have 2 minors with me, but I did need to leave. We've talked about this in therapy, and I needed my phone to find where to go. Also, in fairness, I do have bipolar disorder. I'm fully medicated and in therapy, but I have some serious issues because I was raised in a cult and I was physically disciplined on a regular basis, so I don't do well with authority, and I'm not great at distinguishing reality from my own perception, which means I'm prime for being gaslit, or so I hear. I did share all of that information, my bottle of wine, my diagnosis, etc., immediately with the arresting officers. It didn't change the fact that they had to arrest him for taking my phone and interfering with the 911 call and preventing egress. Let this be a word to the wise from an absolute fool. Sometimes cops do their job too well. They should be allowed discretionary judgment in a possible arrest, but state law does not always permit it. They didn't want to arrest him after we explained the situation, but said they had to. Anyway, neither of us wants a divorce. I'm having a medication check with my psychiatrist. We both want to get counseling, couples counseling, family counseling, individual counseling, anger management, anything like that. We've also both agreed to stop drinking. It's not worth the risk and it probably does mess with my medication. Another reason I might legitimately be the a-hole. More importantly, my husband and I have agreed that we all need to move out of mother-in-law's house ASAP if we are going to make this work. I'm hoping that we can stay together, but it's going to take a lot of work to build up trust between us. But guys, I might be the a-hole. Wow, okay, I don't even know what to say after something like that. What the hell did we just read? I'm going to need a second to think about that. Oh my god, there's a comment here that says, wow, people need to come back to this after the edit. Now it reads like OP, you the a-hole. You got blackout drunk, started a fight, tried to drive drunk. Because you're blackout, you don't remember hitting your husband, and it was such a bad confrontation that your child, let alone this foster child, don't want to live with you. Well, I'm shocked that you asked if you're the a-hole. Why did your husband say that he was preventing you from leaving? You clarified that you have nowhere to go and have a history of mental illness. He probably thought you were leaving to go and harm yourself, I'd guess. You weren't wrong for calling the cops, and they were right to take someone to be detained to stop any escalation. But well, you clearly should have been the one charged from what this edit and your comments clarify. And like somebody else pointed out, that foster child is technically kidnapped by you, as far as the law's concerned. So yeah, maybe look into getting them and due proper state help and care. Yeah, let me know in the comment section what you guys think. That was so wild and so unhinged, and yeah, that update really changed a lot in that, because yeah, a lot of people in the comments were saying not the a-hole, and then they read the update and they were like, oh, okay, no, you the a-hole. And the comment under that one too, what in the hell is that update? That's a huge bait and switch. OP drank a whole bottle of wine, started a fight with mother-in-law, and then tried to drive under the influence, it sounds like, which of course the husband would take the keys and try to stop her. Any reasonable person would, and she called the cops and got him arrested. Bruh, this OP is massively the a-hole, especially after leaving out so much information that caused her husband to appear abusive. God damn. OP, you the a-hole. Yeah, I don't even know how to feel, because when I was reading that, I was thinking like, oh, okay, so why did he take the keys and why was he trying to stop you? And like a lot of people in the comment section said before OP updated, like that's really not good. But yeah, if you did down a bottle of wine and then you're trying to drive away to start a fight with your mother-in-law, yeah, of course the husband's going to take the keys and try to stop her. And also comments like this one, guys, she was drunk and on medication. He may have been trying to keep her from driving. She was so out of it she doesn't remember that she hit him. She's not a reliable source. It sounds like he was trying to calm her down and keep her from doing damage or harm. Yeah, I was thinking that too, but like, what do I know? I'm only reading a Reddit post. Yeah, I don't know. That was so wild, because then there are comments like this one too. Got into a fight, my fault, took away my phone and keys, stopped you leaving, and you're still making excuses for his controlling, abusing behavior. There are so many red flags here, it's like being at a Crimson Flag convention. I'm truly sorry, but you are in an abusive relationship. Your husband thinks that he can control you, he can't. Thinks he can detain you against your will, he can't. And when you don't do what he wants and you leave, he loses it so bad that the police arrest him rather than just get him to hand back your phone. The police obviously didn't feel that you would be safe if they left him there. Take notice of that. They know. You need to have a long, very honest conversation with yourself. Ask yourself if his control over you is part of a longer pattern of behavior that you've tried to normalize and rationalize. Ask yourself, was the argument truly your fault, or is that just what you've been told by them? Oh, and one last question. Whose idea truly was it to foster? And in case it wasn't obvious, you're not the a-hole. Yeah, I genuinely don't know. Let me know down below what you guys think. The next one that we're going to read is called, Am I the a-hole for socially denying a woman a seat next to me on the bus? I ride a pretty sparsely ridden bus from my work to my college. When I say sparse, I mean it's never even close to half full. There are always rows of empty seats at the time that I ride in the afternoon. I use a light linen bag for work and I don't want to put it on the floor or on my lap, so I put it on the seat next to me. All the seats are pairs, 2 seats next to each other. I don't mind anybody sitting next to me, but the bus is never close to full, so I use the space for my bag. Yesterday during my commute, a lady got on the bus and grimaced at me. She gestured for me to remove my bag so she could sit next to me. As usual, there were so many empty seats. I wasn't sitting in a disabled or reserved spot. There were seats closer to the door, but whatever, I'm not confrontational. I removed my bag so she could sit. I sort of rolled my eyes when she sat next to me and sighed. Not to be obvious, but because I just got off an 8-hour shift. I was tired and I wanted my own space, and she didn't have to sit next to me. She clearly noticed and then she said, "You need to learn some manners." After that, I got up and I moved to another seat, but the whole thing's been bothering me for a day. Did I really lack manners? It just feels like she sat there to teach me a lesson when she could have sat anywhere else. Yeah, no, you're definitely not the a-hole, OP. What did you do wrong? And what manners do you need to learn? You did what you were meant to do. I don't understand. Yeah, the top comment, not the a-hole. Bag in the seat, no intention on moving it. Empty seats all over the bus. You know what that means? Find your ass somewhere else to sit and leave people alone. OP, it sounds like you might have an occasionally anxious mindset. Rest assured that you did nothing wrong, hun. It was super inconsiderate for that lady to intentionally invade your personal space and demand that she sit next to you. Yeah, this is a public space and setting, so most of the time there isn't enough space to be left personally to yourself, but not the a-hole. The only one lacking manners and common courtesy was her and not you. Yeah, and like the comment under that says, not the a-hole, this has happened to me too. These people are just on a power trip. I just get up and move to another empty seat. If I get on any kind of transport and there are empty seats everywhere, I don't go and sit directly next to somebody. It's weird. Yeah, 100%. And for this person to say, oh, you need to learn some manners, like they obviously wanted to say that, even when they had no reason to say that. Like they were trying to tell you off and teach you a lesson, but you didn't do anything. Yeah, I definitely think it is a power and control thing. Because yeah, like that comment says, why else would you go sit next to somebody when there are heaps of empty seats on the bus? That's super strange and unnecessary too. Okay, for the next one that we're going to read, we're going to move over to the Entitled People subreddit. The next one is titled, I Want a Biscuit, the 2-day saga of a hospital Karen. This is going to be long, but full of entitlement. I was in hospital and I ended up being put in the observation unit because no specialist beds were available. The obs unit is a catch-all ward where patients are put if they're not in imminent danger, but they do need regular monitoring. It's bright and extremely noisy, so nobody can sleep well. Unfortunately, Biscuit Karen arrives at 10 p.m. on day 1. Why is she called Biscuit Karen? Because she wants a biscuit, and she's shouting this loudly enough for the whole observation unit to hear. Never mind the time or that we're trying to sleep. Never mind that her blood sugar is 8.5, elevated, and she's diabetic, so she really doesn't need more sugar. But hey ho, the long-suffering nurses find her a biscuit and they ask her to be quiet. Biscuit Karen does not quieten down because shouting is her default setting, and she doesn't seem to notice that other patients exist. After 10 minutes of solid noise pollution, she wants another biscuit. The nurse gives it to her. More noise, then another 15 minutes later, she shout calls for another biscuit. The nurses are occupied, so nobody answers her immediately. So you know what she does? She shouts her request even louder. As if we all hadn't heard her already, this is where the nurses begin to lose patience. She's told to be quiet and her blood sugar level is mentioned. However, Biscuit Karen insists, so she's given another effing biscuit. Maybe the nurses drugged this one because Biscuit Karen soon goes to sleep and snores loud. This was a taste of what was to come, but nobody on the observation unit knew it yet. Day 2, 11 p.m. Biscuit Karen has been okay all day and nothing much appears to be wrong with her. She has a walking aid and can get herself to the toilet, but she doesn't want to. She shout calls a nurse to put her on the commode. A very blunt nurse points out that she's seeing Karen walking, so she's not going to help her. The toilet's only 10 meters away. Biscuit Karen does not accept this. She keeps on shouting for a nurse to help her. Eventually the blunt nurse goes to check, and Biscuit Karen has actually wet herself in her passive-aggressive rage. The nurse is shocked and is telling Biscuit Karen off. Biscuit Karen does not care. Meanwhile, the bed is now sodden and they have to change the sheets. The blunt nurse helps Biscuit Karen onto the commode and then goes to get the spare sheets. Unfortunately for the nurses, other patients are being equally tricky. There's the alcoholic man who can't walk but keeps on trying and falling to the floor, the polar opposite of our anti-heroine, and a woman with a broken neck who constantly takes off her nightgown and tries to go wandering around. All the nurses are kept busy rounding up the strays and inevitably forget about the abandoned Biscuit Karen, left sitting there on the commode. Biscuit Karen ensures that she's not neglected for long. Can somebody help me? Ricochets repeatedly around the observation unit to the dismay of all the people trying to sleep. Eventually it becomes, somebody help me, my back hurts. Of all the disruptive behavior happening on the obs unit, she's by far the loudest, the most persistent, and the most obnoxious because she caused her own discomfort in the first place. I'm peeved and so is everybody else. Blunt nurse gets back to her and an argument starts. She's cross as she's needlessly making the bed. Biscuit Karen is angry that she's been left in an uncomfortable sitting position. In fact, she's getting more aggressive by the second. And eventually she slaps the nurse. Blunt nurse does not put up with this nonsense. She abandons making the bed and leaves Biscuit Karen on timeout, still on the commode, and ignores all shouted demands to come back. She tells the other irate patients that she's not going to risk any further aggression, and we all agree with her in solidarity, and the blunt nurse was true to her word. So eventually deeply compassionate nurse tried her luck making the bed. Unfortunately for deeply compassionate nurse, Biscuit Karen is a raging racist, true to stereotype, and she not only calls her the N-word, but also tells her to go back to where she came from. Deeply compassionate nurse nopes out at that point, whilst the blunt nurse calls security. Biscuit Karen has begun yelling every few seconds, I want my phone, where's my phone? Still from the commode, presumably so that she can enact her threats. I'm gonna report you, I'm gonna get you fired. The nurses aren't stupid though, so nobody gives Biscuit Karen her phone. It doesn't occur to Biscuit Karen to get off the commode and find her own phone. Meanwhile, the other patients have hit their BS saturation point and have started yelling at Biscuit Karen to shut up. It's past 12 AM and nobody can get to sleep. At this point, the cries from Biscuit Karen change to somebody help me every 3 seconds over and over again. The nurses are unmoved. There's a torrent of reactive verbal abuse from the other patients, but Biscuit Karen doesn't seem to hear them. In fact, she's completely devolved into a pathetic toddler tantrum, except toddlers have more self-respect, and she stays immersed in her self-pity for a long time. Meanwhile, 1 AM rolls around. Security officers take their time to arrive, but when they do, they're met with what appears to be a distressed old lady who claims that the nurses are hurting her and that deeply compassionate nurse actually hit her. That was an audacious lie. However, Biscuit Karen is too dysregulated to keep the facade up for long and is morphing straight back into a spiteful and aggressive harpy when blunt nurse goes back to fix the bed. The security officers see why they were called and they try to keep the peace while the bed is finally finished. There's not much too thick-set men can do with a small old woman perched on a commode, but they tried. Eventually, Biscuit Karen starts demanding her medication, and somebody comes up with the bright idea of calling an accident and emergency doctor who can quell the entitled savagery of the enraged Karen. Of course, it would be a young, handsome, confident male doctor, the very epitome of a rescuer to an old biatch who's trying to play the victim. When he turns up, Biscuit Karen becomes a sweet and compliant old lady, answering yes doctor, no doctor. She does try to repeat her lie about being assaulted, but several patient statements, 2 jaded nurses and 2 exiting security personnel proved otherwise. The doctor gave Biscuit Karen her meds, she was helped to bed and she fell asleep. Meanwhile, the rest of the patients on the obs unit were too high on adrenaline to feel drowsy, so we were condemned to further wakefulness. I was so glad to leave the next day. If you read this far, thank you, and I hope you enjoyed the sorry tale. Wow, that's terrifying.